That's it. All right, let's see where we're at. Oh,
We're going to go 350.
350.
350.
Oh, 350.
350.
That's the number you're trying to hit?
We're trying to hit something.
1050.
Oh, you're trying to hit anything. You want to hit thousands.
We are free agents.
That's right.
Free agents. Oh, free agents. All right, let's see where we are. Where are we? We are live. Oh, yeah, we're at 241.
All right.
250.
Oh, man, you know what? We might actually make your dream come true here. My dream as well. But definitely Julie has been advocating for 250 on the subscribers.
For weeks, and I was gone for a week.
We're
see if we can pull
9
some of
short.
Those Voltagehead subscribers over.
That's right. So for all you guys, of course, guys and girls and rock stars and things and whatever, thank you for joining us. We're going to go live in just a few minutes. Once I get the okay from the tech team, we're going to go live and do the whole podcast thing. For you guys that have never been here before, it's a lot of fun. And I was just thinking last time you were here, we're talking about last year.
Yeah, in July.
Almost a full year.
Almost.
So we have updated and changed and done some new things and added some things.
Yes.
So even if you saw that podcast way back when, it's going to be totally different a little bit. And we're going to get all into it. And as we get the okay, so far I don't have any, trying to get everybody on, trying to get all the stream health going here. Yep. Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's delayed. So we're still working that. In the meantime, we're still recording. So all this will go on our lovely podcast edition for Thursday morning. All my podcasters get to hear us and our lovely. We are doing great on the podcast half of things. So if you guys are podcasters, you like to listen to podcasts, we're here every Thursday. We pretty much put out a new episode, so that's pretty cool. We've been getting going with that one. We've got a couple viewers on. So if you guys don't know how this all goes down, make sure you say hey. Introduce yourselves, and I will see you guys over here in this chat that's right over here, and I will announce you. We also do virtual points. We have games that we do. We have the Gauntlet of Fire. We have actually have a cool thing about horoscopes today, because we are, pseudoscience is a sphere. Nice. It's kind of a sphere. It's a sonic sphere. So we're going to combine pseudoscience and music.
All right.
Who would have thunk it? So all of that's going to be a little bit later. So as you guys stay on, we'll be able to also participate. All the questions. We also have trivia. Tonight I'm so excited to have Julie back.
I missed you too.
We got Scully. We got Miss Scully. Mr. Scully?
Mr.
Are
Scully.
you sitting with Mr. or Mrs. Scully?
That's Mr. Scully. Miss Scully has a bow.
Oh.
Okay,
Yeah,
Mr.
Well, get the bow.
I'm glad I
Mr.
didn't
Scully.
assume.
Mr. Scully. And like I said, we got the thumbs up from the tech team, so that means that we are going to rock and roll. I'm going to do this cool intro, and when we hit 100, I've got a whole new surprise intro.
All right.
I've been working on.
A brand new intro.
I do, and one of the things that I had to learn this past year was how to make your own GIF from scratch.
Nice.
So that's what I did. And it's really hard. After a while, you get the hang of it. But if you want to add, the more you add, the more crazy it gets and whatnot. So, yeah. So let's do the intro and make sure I even have the right intro. I don't know. Where are we? What day is it today? All right, let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Oh, it was the right one. It was the right intro. Welcome, everybody, to SonicSphere Podcast. We're episode 53. 53.
Getting old.
That's right, we're getting old. This episode of whatever it says, is called Wolves, Scumdogs, and Hellcats. We've got all those today, oh my. So we got a full podcast coming at you guys. Episode number 53, of course, recorded for Monday, May 10th. Happy Mother's Day to all of you ladies out there, and mothers and fur mothers, all the things. Happy Mother's Day to you guys out there. I'm your host, of course, the Platinum Viking that raises the mostest, and I've got...
I'm Julie too.
There you go.
We
got back again from Podunk, Arkansas.
Oh, no, it ain't that.
Podunk, Arkansas. That's all right. I'm glad to have her back because I definitely did not do the trivia as well as Julie too does trivia. So in music history, I tried. But she's back.
It was a
She's gonna
valiant
get
effort. I watched.
It was. I tried. I did. I ran through it pretty quick, though. All right. So, and then, of course, we are going to have special guests in the house tonight. Forest Violette. I'm very excited about this. Because, like I said, I've had you in before, but it was the full band. And now I got you alone.
And I wasn't here.
Yeah, you weren't here.
And Julie wasn't
Thank
here.
you guys for having me. It's always
So
awesome to
excited.
be here.
This is awesome. And they came with gifts, and I always love it. They came with beer, which, by the way, you guys are the first guests to come with
To
beer.
bring your own beer, yeah.
That's already
Which
amazing.
I need a copy of this too. I'm real
I
jealous.
was gonna say we
Oh.
also have.
I might have one or two more.
We have one of these, which is the newest sauce from these guys, the new sauce from these guys. So it's very cool. It's got all this stuff, and of course I'm gonna get them to sign it. What we're gonna do with this possibly at the end is that, remember, we're keeping virtual points for you guys that play the games. And if you know your trivia, and if you guys ask your Q&As to our guest, you earn virtual points here. We're going to have a fancy name for that. We got to come up with something. We'll figure
Well, I was
it
going to
out.
keep it for myself because I want to listen to it. So
We'll
if you
do
don't
that
get, If you
too.
don't get any,
So we'll
any
get a
questions
few-
right,
There you go. And if you don't get any questions right,
then I'm
well,
going to keep it.
it's gone. You don't get anything.
It's
So,
mine.
yep. So we're going to do this. We're going to have them sign it, and then we're going to do giveaways. We have giveaways coming up.
Oh, nice.
So it's going to be excited. I also have representing Voltagehead tonight. Wow.
So cool.
Get it centered on my boobs.
That's
There
a
you
good-
go.
That's a good shirt.
Yeah, it's a good shirt. So representing Voltagehead here, and we're going to talk more about what is going on with them that's new since the last time we talked. And if you guys missed that episode, you got to go way back to July and check it out. It's in the rated M section.
Yeah.
It is rated.
We're what's it called? NSFW.
Yeah, it's rated in the M section. So I think you guys still have the record for the most number of F-bombs in an
Oh, I'm
episode.
sure.
I think it was 63. So
That's a lot.
the most number of F-bombs
You need
in
to
an
get one of
episode.
those counters on the video.
We do that, yeah. So kind of that's also the next thing that we're getting. So we're gonna start adding weird sounds and
Nice.
counters and
We're going to have to add it to cover the F-bombs. This is what we're going to have to do so we
Oh,
don't
really?
get knocked down in the ratings. Yeah.
yeah.
that's
So
terrible.
you guys let us know what you think what sound should we use.
Oh, an oink.
And I was thinking that too, but let's see. You guys vote. What sound should we use to cover up the F-bombs?
I think an actual bomb sound, like a
All right, so we got an oink, 2 oinks, and a bomb sound. So you guys, again, like I said, if you guys are out there, you can comment here in the comment section. What that does is basically a virtual chat room. We get to see you guys, we get to talk to you, we get to do all those things. That's the benefit of the live stream. That's why you come out to the live stream. It is a show. We're here
That's right.
to put on a show. So tonight, I've got a couple short stories for you. We've got a full podcast episode going. My short intro stories for me is Wolves at the Gates. We have Malmsteen talking about how we should enjoy albums
he's right.
and talk about his latest offering.
Is he telling us how to enjoy the albums, or telling us that we should enjoy the albums?
just
in
telling you
whichever
to
way we
enjoy
want
it.
to?
Both.
He's
both.
he's telling you that you will enjoy
Yeah,
it.
We're doing
I'm
both.
sure his way of enjoying an album is quite different than my way of enjoying an album.
Possibly. You may be surprised. That's my short intro story for you guys. We warm up the stage with these. Julie, what's your short intro story?
I got a bunch to choose from. Do you want to pick, or do you just want me to pick?
I'm going to randomly pick number 3.
Okay, so 1, 2.
That's how we do it.
There you go.
And of course, cheers
And
everybody out
cheers.
there. Cheers to you guys. Get some beers and brews.
Some
I mean,
beers.
we won't shy away from that. You can get coffee too. I know you
And
guys. out
3.
there.
Okay, so you picked number 3.
Number 3.
That would be the opening of Carnegie Hall
Okay.
that we're going to talk about, and there's a
Really?
trivia question embedded in that too. So
All right. Carnegie Hall for all you Northerners, right? That's up in
that's in New York.
New York City. So we're going to see what you guys know. Of course, we have special guests for us. We're going to get into the musics, and we're actually going to get a little bit more into your backstory. But one of the things that I actually really did want to talk to you about also is writing, because I don't have a whole lot of people that come on, and we don't get to talk a whole lot about songwriting.
I'm excited
and
about this.
lyrics, and we were talking a little bit about this before,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm at that point where I'm doing this now, so I think hopefully my questions for being at this beginning point will help you guys out there who are aspiring to start writing, kind of how it all goes down, and then we'll also talk about what's new with you guys.
Yeah.
Just saw a killer show, so guess what, shows are coming
Yeah,
back.
thank you so much for coming too. It was so great to see you.
That was
You had
awesome,
a lot of
man.
good friends there.
Killed it. I love it. If you guys have not checked these guys out, of course, in the show notes below, all their stuff is down there, including everything from Forrest personally. He does all the cool things. You can check that out.
Yes.
And also Voltagehead at the bottom. And you're in a bunch of other bands. So we're also going to talk about that. You do a cover band, Silver Tongue. We're going to get into that. And you guys out there in the chat room, like I said, this is a chance for you guys to ask some questions as well as we go through this. All right, so our second half, you got to stick around because there's an entire second half. This is a podcast. Yes, it's a show, but it's a podcast show. So guess what?
It's long.
Get your drinks and stick around because it's long, but it's fun. we're gonna keep you on. I have a bunch of stuff for you. This was an interesting weird week. I got some weird stories, you know,
right.
some unusual stuff. I don't know. It was
favorite.
just a weird week, I think. I do have your State of the Music address. That's going to give you who's coming to town when. Got a couple things on that one, lots of major updates. And there's also the Evanescence Hailstorm team
I
up.
saw
We're
that.
going to talk about that one. We are going to talk about the Genesis tour, which we missed last week. So we're going to talk about that one. We also have Rise Against going everywhere.
Can you feel it coming?
Can you feel it coming? There you go. That's great songwriting. All right. And then we have Andrew WK is back. And let's get festive. We're going to talk about your final lineups for Summerfest and Furnace Fest. So we've got all of that coming at you. We're going to rewind the record with Julie 2. This is where we do our music history. We do some stories from true rock and roll history, horror stories. Not always, but history
Some of
stories.
them are scary. Actually, we have some well, maybe some, what do you call them? They're not urban legends if they take place in the country, but I guess just legends about music maybe.
Okay, so we got some music legends. That kind of goes together.
All right.
But anyway, for the rest
That's
of
such
which,
a relative term.
yeah, it is. It is. So in addition to Carnegie Hall, which I already talked about, we're going to talk about how the piano as we know it came to be, which happened back in the Renaissance because we get to celebrate a certain person.
We're going to get renaissanced.
Yeah,
All
we
right.
are.
We're going to get
That's
Renaud.
good for that. The
And
Renaissance Fair is
also,
going on right now.
here's a trivia question you can start thinking on now. What's the difference between a phonograph and a graphophone? And it's a very big difference, and it matters, and we're going to talk about that.
I think people are very confused about that one. I am.
Well,
a little bit,
we're going to
but yeah.
clarify it and why it applies to us today, and which one was really the predecessor to like our modern sound and the way we enjoy music now. Because one is and one is not, and it's not what you think probably.
All right. And that's us all in the second half. What else you got?
And we are also going to get to talk about Dick Dale and Robert Johnson
Oh, nice.
because they made their grand entrance into the world this week.
Yeah. Okay. Nice.
That's where some of the legends are going to come in, for sure. And then also we get to talk about Alan Freed and his impact on us because he debuted what was really the first rock and roll show, even though he doesn't really get credit for it,
Nice.
this week in the 50s.
Good old 50s blasphemy. Rock and roll.
Mhm. Oh, he was a blasphemer. He was the number one blasphemer at the time, and they
Blasphemer.
tried to bury that man. We're going to talk about that.
That's an underused word.
Yeah, it is. I know.
Blasphemer.
It's great.
That's
It's
right.
great.
As well as Led Zeppelin bringing about their swan song label for the first time. And
gonna
the
make it into the
success they had with that before, of course, the end.
The
And
end.
also, just for a little bit of fun, it was this week in 2014 that a lost Mendelssohn composition was recovered and performed for the first time on air. So we'll look at that too. So that's what we got.
Okay. Awesome. All right. That's all in the second half when we pause the music to also look at what you missed this week. And I only got two stories for you guys today. First one I wasn't really going to go into, but it seems to have blown up. So now we have to talk about it, which is, of course, the loss of Tawny Kitaen, which is the White Snake actress who was on the White Snake video.
Tawny Kitaen.
Yeah, Kitaen, there you go. And of course, we lost her this week, recently at 59, and there's some questions with that. So we're going to kind of remember what she did. What impact did she have on things? I think for a lot of young boys during the time,
She had a big impact on
She
some
had a
young
big
boys at the time
impact.
because everybody talked about her.
everybody talked about her. So we're going to talk about that, the loss of the Metal Vixen. And then we're also going to talk about FBI recently releasing Kurt Cobain's death investigation files.
Wow.
So that
How
came
did I
out.
miss that?
Just made it public.
Wow.
So with very little retractions on it. So we'll kind of resurrect the dead a little bit and talk about that a little bit. And then, of course, we're going to end up at your friendly neighborhood bar. That's where your geekdom comes all your alcoholic binges end up, and what's left of pop culture all end up. And I'm going to give you an update on the Lego saga, which has turned into a saga. Whose epic live show set is going to become a Lego set? I've got some updates about who is not going to be a set.
That's really cool.
So I'm going to update you on that. We also have two other things, which is Guar. We're getting an update about the rye, the whiskey that they're coming out with. We're going to talk about that. We got some updates with that one. And finally, of course, Iron Maiden, known for, of course, putting out anything badass and awesome, has another brew. Guess what it's called? It was in the title.
Hellcat.
Hellcat. So, we've got all of that, and we are going to work on getting some of that stuff here, so we're going to do some tastings.
Nice.
I can't wait.
It's going to be crazy. So check it out. We've got all those things. This is the full SonicSphere Podcast live stream, live and uncut. This is where we don't cut anything. No
I'll
pressure.
try to keep the F-bombs being dropped.
No pressure.
Bomb sound.
Yeah, bomb sound.
The cat meow.
The cat meow. Yeah. I'm thinking about putting a little cat that comes up. And, of course, what I'm supposed to say at the end of this, as the cat pops up and says, meow, please subscribe and like if you guys have not already done that. We are we're talking about this in the pre-show a little bit. We are at 241,
250. We need 250.
That's amazing. That's amazing. When we first kind of started this about 3 weeks ago, I was like, there's no way we're going to get to 250. There's just no way. 3 weeks,
I'm not
I was
going
like,
to shut up because we're going to get to 250.
There's no way. And we are at 241. 241. So if you guys are listening, we only need, I hate doing that, 9 more people. Come on. Hit the button.
You.
242.
I'm talking to you. Hit that subscribe button.
Make it
Do
turn
that right
colors.
now.
It's it'll change. It'll just.
I
move
know
when
you
do
want
it.
to. You're hovering right above it.
You're thinking about it.
touch it.
Just tickle the red button.
Just tickle the red button.
Tickle the
Yes.
red button. And we're gonna put some other little reminders up there. I'm gonna make some cute things. And if you guys have already subscribed, thank you so much. Again, this keeps us going, keeps me doing this, honestly, because podcasts last forever. I feel like
They
some, some of the podcasts that I listen to, they're in 863 episode number.
We're immortal,
863.
That's amazing. Yeah.
So to go that long, I need you guys to keep me going, to keep me energy, to keep saying, hey, I like what you guys are doing. Let's keep doing it. So that helps. Also, that helps local artists. I want to showcase as many local artists as I can. I've got a full schedule. Very excited to bring back a couple different artists. I'm glad to bring back Forest, man.
There's a lot of great artists in Atlanta.
There is so much music happening here. I want to showcase them all, and this is kind of a different way of doing it. So for you guys that are sitting at home, it's like I'm not quite comfortable coming out to a live show. This is like a live show.
Yeah.
It's talking, but we have fun.
Yeah.
You can still drink. You can still, you can still dance in your living room. It's okay. It's all right. You can dance in your living room. I won't judge.
You should.
You should.
If you're not,
You
you
can
should.
dance if you want to.
You can dance if you want to.
You can leave your friends behind.
Don't leave your friends behind. So that is what we have for the first part. So let's get into it because this is the podcast episode, live stream and uncut, number 53. And I'm going to start with, like I said, how should we enjoy albums? How should we enjoy albums and music? All right.
What does Ingve say about this? Because I have a feeling I think I know.
Yeah. So Ingve, of course, we've talked a little bit about this. I think actually in the last 2 episodes, we've talked about sort of when artists put music out, sort of the difference between doing one song versus an album, kind of putting that out.
Yeah.
The last band that we just talked to, The Great Wide Nothing, had just recently put out Volume 1, which is sort of you want to listen to that from the start to the end.
It's like reading a novel. You start at the beginning, you end at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So there's something to
Unless
it,
you're
you
a
know.
cheater.
Some
We
people
don't
cheat.
want. We don't want to cheat.
Some people
now.
cheat. So he's basically not only going to tell us how we should listen to music in general, but how we should listen to his new music, which is new music. He has new music coming out.
I haven't even
excited about
listened to
this.
his music for so
Yeah.
long. I'm not
Yeah.
sure if I could listen to him tell me how to listen to music.
He and Paul Gilbert have a new album coming out. Actually, I was
Yeah.
looking at Paul Gilbert's preview on Instagram today too.
Exactly. So pretty excited that he's getting back to it. And he's got this new song called Wolves at the Gate. Pretty fitting. Sure, wolves came from. He also has an entire studio album that's going to come out called Parabellum. So that's about to come out. And he put out a lyric video, which is interesting to me. He put a lyric video out. So, like, is the days of lyric videos kind of come and gone?
Maybe not.
We just did one.
We just did one. So, there you go. So, yeah. So, you just
I
put
think
out...
kind of a big thing right now. Fozzy just did one. A bunch of bigger bands have done them.
Yeah. So, there you go. So, lyric video. Just put one of these out. And there's a bunch of room. You can hear what he does best.
Nice.
Play the damn guitar, man. it's amazing. So you can hear it. Wolves at the Door is actually the song that he put out, and it includes it's basically one of 4 songs. So it's gonna be a short album. So it's not quite, I guess, maybe an EP. I don't know.
It depends on the length.
Yeah, one of 4 songs, and it's set to include vocals. And she said, basically, he said he likes to go to his car and listen in his car to what he just did, to his album. And
he's not super weird in doing that, because there's something about surround sound and car speakers that
We've always tested the
yes,
sound in car.
you don't know what you have until you put it in your car.
Yeah.
yeah,
you have
yeah.
the multiple speakers every car
Around
has
your
surround.
head.
It's
Yep.
all coded through the receiver or through the deck, and you'll hear some stuff you won't hear in the studio, especially on just 2 speakers or a mono.
Absolutely.
Right, yeah, yeah. And you kind of surround sound like if you had a headphones on, but like everything is a little bit more.
In the
I don't
air,
know,
around your
something,
head.
yeah.
Actually, you get the sound of the room basically, even though it's only a car.
But you know what? There you go. So he does that. He goes into the car and he finds himself singing along to what was supposed to be an instrumental. So this is
Now,
where
I
this-
wonder if he just sits in his driveway or his garage, if he actually goes for a little drive late at night.
I don't
Because
know.
I like to go for a little drive. I
I
don't like
wonder
to
what
sit
car
there.
Ingve drives.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
car does Ingve drive? You guys know. Let us know. There you go. Trivia question number 1. What car does Ingve drive currently?
If you sit in the
Or,
garage, make sure you open the door.
Multiple, probably.
Probably. Which one is the one, though, he sits and listens to me? Because, I mean, those speakers are specific, you know? Like, it's got to be a specific thing. So anyway, then he realized that, of course, that song does need vocals sometimes, but he said it also realizes that sometimes people just need to shut the hell up. It's very interesting. So we have that, and there's a lot going on within these tracks, so you can check it. He said, obviously, the guitar is kind of leading the way. And he said, I can assure you that while it may seem that there are keyboards, everything else, basically everything on this, has been done by him on guitar. There are no keys. This is all him doing everything, even though that it sounds like a piano on the intro. So there you go.
Pedal for everything.
Yeah. Pedal for everything.
Or
He
MIDI.
could do anything. I mean,
Yeah.
if he wanted to sound
Yes.
like any of that stuff. So he also says this is going to be out, of course, July 23rd
And I can't wait.
via Music Theories Recording, which is the Mascot label group. He kind of says, I'm trying to push myself on this, and it meant that basically because of the pandemic he could do more in studio, which I think is true with a lot of people. Mark says he drives a Ferrari. Probably have killer speakers in there.
I bet
By the
they
way,
do. They don't scamp on
we got
Ferraris.
Mark Cook. Hello.
Hey.
Thank you for joining us.
up,
And we
Mark?
have Off the Wall joining us.
Oh,
Off the Wall's
awesome.
here. Hey. Yeah, got a couple new people and regular rock stars going on. Awesome rock stars. All right, so then you go. So he said basically because he's also on tour, he doesn't have the luxury to sit there in a studio to get stuff done. So there you go. He also did this sort of the artwork on the front is like a painting, and he did this portrait that artist David Benegas probably provided the artwork for the album. So it's literally like an oil type painting of him. So check it out. It's huge, and the money is used. That basically we're going to use it to raise money for April Way Children's Foundation. And he's going to auction this portrait off to go towards the this whole
Nice.
children. You need it. So finally, what is the sort of way that you are supposed to feel this? How to listen to this? He said the bottom line for me is the passion I feel for the music I make is to be obvious. I am somebody that lives in the moment. I wanted this album to have a joyous, spontaneous atmosphere. He said, I hope people will put this record on, listen to it from start to end. and I recorded this as a singular piece of art. Not as a collection of 10 tracks that you can just kind of pick what you want. And he says this album has a natural flow from start to finish, and it's not to be cut up. I want fans to experience the delight I had in making it along the way. So, here you go.
I think there's a lot to be said for that, honestly.
Absolutely.
When we did the Voltagehead album, we were very particular about how we structured the songs from start to finish. We wanted also the album to flow nicely. But each track does also stand out individually. So if you just hear one on the radio or pick one up on Spotify or Apple Music, then you'll also be able to enjoy it by themselves.
There you go. There's an art to it. I think the art is coming back, I hope. I hope a little bit.
I sure hope.
All right, Julie, what short story do you have? We are going back in time.
You picked number 3.
New York.
You picked New York.
I did. I picked New York.
So this week in 1891, Carnegie Hall, which was not called Carnegie Hall when it first opened its doors. It had its grand opening. It had a soft opening for a few weeks, but it had its grand opening festivities this week in May of 1891. It was billed the Music Hall at first. It got its name Carnegie Hall because its benefactor, Andrew Carnegie, the Music Society of New York, decided just to go ahead and put his name on it because it wouldn't have been there without him, and it just seemed proper. So money. But he was a music lover, and I'm glad that he was.
There you go.
Does anybody know who the first performer was?
What year was it again?
1891.
Oh, Cher.
Yeah, there you go.
1891.
Cher never ages. I'm sure it was her.
Yeah.
1891.
She looks great, man.
Anyway, so the music hall opened with a 5-day festival of 6 concerts. Tickets were sold first by subscription, meaning you came for the whole thing, ranging from $5 for balcony seats to $10 for the parquet.
That's crazy because I feel like
Yeah.
that's
A lot of
exactly
money back
what
then.
we pay
Yeah.
now for shows. If you go to an original show, at least your cover's $5 or $10. That hadn't changed.
Well, this was for the entire festival. So
Which we'll get into soon about what the Genesis ticket cost are.
So single tickets went on sale later after people wrote into the newspapers complaining that they couldn't afford subscriptions, and those went for $1 for a single day ticket.
Nice.
So since no one's guessed yet, the Man of Honor arrived in New York in April of 91, a little ahead of schedule, on an offer for $2,500 to play for the inaugural festivities at the new venue, which is the equivalent of $70,000 today. So
I was going to
this
say,
man
man,
pocketed
even that's
$70
good. Like
grand.
70
2,000 is
grand, wow.
even
Yeah.
still $70,000. Whew.
As well as he also gained some engagements in Baltimore and Philadelphia, so he made some money. It was a huge deal. And you have to remember that time in America, it was not the center of music, the center of the universe of music at all. Carnegie Hall was kind of built in the wilderness. There wasn't really anything there.
It's before they drained the swamps.
Yes. So when construction began in 1890, a year prior, Midtown was on 14th Street in New York. If you've spent any time in New York, the hall was first conceived as a home for the Horatio Society of New York, which is a choral music group that counted among its board members Andrew Carnegie's wife, Louise and William Burnett Tootle, an amateur cellist and founder of the Architectural League of New York. So this guy was an architect. And Carnegie chose this gentleman, Tootle, to design the first concert hall, which was a good choice because he picked a guy who was actually a musician instead of an architect, as opposed to getting a great architect and making him deal with music.
Right.
So he got a musician that happened to be an architect.
Right, I was going to say, you got both, because, there is stuff about structural things with concert halls, especially you did not have amps. Okay, so this is...
The acoustics in the building,
yeah.
yes. So he was taking an amazing chance on an unknown architect who understood music. So he was a smart man. So on opening night, which happened on May 5 in 1891, audience members arrived in trolley cars, horse-drawn buggies. Think about 1891.
Lots of horse shit.
Yeah. So the particular gentleman of honor took an overcrowded trolley because the streets were too crowded to walk at that hour. And he wrote in his diary, "It's necessary to run about here constantly due to the lack of hackneys," which means that nobody could drive him. He was used to being driven. The hall was packed. Some who couldn't score tickets tried to bribe the ushers as much as $1 each to get in.
That still exists.
Before the
Yeah.
performer went on, there was a
Dollar.
dedication of the hall and a couple of hymns by the Horatio Society, which of course founded the whole thing. And they performed Beethoven's Overture No. 3, and finally this man went on. he later wrote in his diary about it. Intermission, went downstairs. Excitement, my turn. Was welcomed very loudly. The march went off excitedly and was a big success.
There was lots of enjoyment.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of clapping. Lots of cheer.
Thunderous applause.
Thunderous applause.
So, you know, for a lot of artists, from this particular gentleman, since no one's had a guess yet, is no one gonna guess?
Nobody's guessed yet. They've been
I-
quiet.
So he said
we,
man of the hour.
Yes.
Was
We-
that,
we
was
did
that a
have-
hint, or is that just what they called it? That's the code word.
Well, I'm not
It's a
naming
hint.
names.
Oh, okay.
It's a
So
hint.
you know now it is a man.
So
I've told you that much.
Okay, that's a
Eight-
hint.
1891.
And he was paid a big sum of money, so he
Okay.
wasn't unknown.
Was it Liberace? Or
No.
is that too?
Liberace.
I think
that's a good
Liberace was
guess.
still earlier than
1891.
1891. So I'm just going to give you guys about 2 seconds here. If you guys are in the chat room, like I said, you can participate. We're going to give out virtual points, and we have stuff to give.
that. No Googling. It's not
No
fair.
Googling it. Yeah, we always say
Oh, I'll
that.
know if you Google it.
Julie's got this
I'm better
radar.
than Santa Claus.
Watch out. But yeah, we've got some giveaway stuff that we're going to do. You get virtual points, and yeah, we're going to start giving away some cool
Should
stuff.
I give away a very large hint? Does he even want to take
Yeah.
a
Do
stab at
one,
it?
Give a hint.
one more large hint. What we got?
This composer was Russian. He was from Russia.
Tchaikovsky.
Born and raised.
Tchaikovsky?
Tchaikovsky.
Yes.
Oh,
So you get the points.
I get the
Alright.
point. You get the
Yeah.
point. I'll get. You want your CD?
I will donate it.
You'll
I
donate
want
I
to see.
win back to the
All right.
back to the cause.
All right. Well, you'll give me your signature to sign on the CD. How about that?
So for
I'm
like a
down.
lot of artists, Russian and otherwise, America was a great place to make some money. But one of the big factors that's not talked about a lot was that a gentleman by the name of Walter Damrosch, which was the musical director of the Racist Society and the New York Symphony Society, had been a big devotee of Tchaikovsky. He was a huge fan of his music. And the real compliment was that he received that he discovered that they were playing his pieces here, that they were playing them anywhere else. And it like he was the one who like pitched for Tchaikovsky to come. It was this gentleman Damrosch that decided to pay for him and raise the money.
Okay.
And so Tchaikovsky said that Carnegie urged him to return the next year, and they kept in touch. These two guys
for 140 grand.
for double the sum, yeah. I know. So there's not a record of what the price tag would have been, but they had kept in touch, and he had booked Tchaikovsky to come back in a year's time, and they kept in touch through letters from Russia and New York, and would later ask him to host the New York premiere of Tchaikovsky's Symphony No. 6. But unfortunately, Tchaikovsky passed away after completing the Sixth Symphony in 1893.
Man.
But ironically enough, shortly after his death in 1893, Mr. Damrosch received a parcel in the mail, and it was the score to Symphony No. 6.
Oh man.
So he had agreed to perform it with him. No one had the score, and he somehow, in his will or something, arranged to have this sent to Mr. Damrosch.
That's
Nice.
pretty cool.
There you go. There you go.
So that's a pretty cool piece of history. And what the Damrosch family still owns
I
that
was gonna
score.
say, is it still
Yeah.
yeah? So,
I bet that's worth a pretty.
Yeah,
Good.
I don't think they're gonna let go of that. That's special.
Yeah, that's great.
Can't
But yeah,
find
some
that
great
anywhere.
performers I've seen Carnegie Hall over the years, from Tchaikovsky, Dvorak, Mahler, and to George Gershwin, Billie Holiday, Benny Goodman, Etta James, Judy Garland, the Beatles, Pink Floyd, the Kinks, the Flaming Lips, all kinds of people
Flaming Lips.
still performing Carnegie Hall today. It's a cool venue. If you've never been,
Pink
you
Floyd and
should.
Flaming Lips.
The New York Philharmonic performs there regularly, or they will after we get over this pandemic thing. I've seen the New York Philharmonic there. It's great. You owe it to yourself. So if you make a trip to
Here
New
you
York,
go. Here you go.
Go
Trip
see a
to
show.
New York. Get some stuff on. That stuff's starting to open up a little
It's
bit.
on the list.
It's on the list. On the list. Get whatever you got to get done, so you can travel and do the things. All right, and that has warmed up the stage. We're gonna bring Forrest out. Woo! I need claps. See, that's
the
my next
doors.
thing. Yeah, the doors and the curtains. That's gonna be next. I'm gonna have some
Red
curtains come
velvet.
out.
Get
Red
a
velvet.
like a curtain. What's it called?
Oh, you know, I could do a
filter?
mini curtain.
Mini
We could
curtain
do a
filter.
mini curtain. We could totally
we can
get.
do that.
We could do
can do
that,
that
and get like a
soon.
little puppet
You
show
could add it to
thing.
the game. You could.
I like it.
Your intro, the guest could still talk, but nobody knows.
Nobody
who it is
nobody
yet.
knows who it
It'd be
is.
a
Well,
mystery
you do announce it
until-
on your podcast, so I guess that would ruin the surprise.
Well, yeah, that's okay. We had Bannister's on. Good to see you
Hey.
Bannister's here?
yesterday. Yeah,
Are you-
Bannister's here.
Hey, Bannister.
hey, Bannister.
What's up? What's up? Always good to see you on here. First time, pop your cherry. All right, this is I don't know if Forrest is really uncomfortable about that.
About what?
I don't know. I said pop your cherry, and
Oh.
Forrest is like, I don't know. I don't know. That's what we say, everybody who's new to podcast. And actually a lot of people don't know about podcasts. So this is kind of trying to bring this media to musicians, which I think if you're a musician, you're missing a large part of people who only listen to podcasts. Like there's a lot of people that don't listen to music. They'll listen to a podcast. So trying to kind of bridge the gap between all of that stuff. So let's go ahead and get into it because we've got Forrest here in the hot seat. We're going to ask him some questions about what's going on and then put him through the gauntlet of fire.
All right.
I got some
I'm
new
ready.
stuff for you.
I'll jump right through that ring of fire.
He probably will. We'll see, though.
We'll see.
We'll see. I have yet to have anybody make it all the way through the gauntlet.
Oh, yeah.
So
your questions are great. They're
I'm going to see.
Random and obscure,
It's really
but
random.
really, really good.
Yeah, so we'll see if you make it through.
Um,
Now, you've already kind of went through one, I think. Did we do the gauntlet when you were on? I don't think we did.
Yeah, I think we did.
Did a little
a
bit.
bunch of weird questions that nobody knew answers to.
Nobody knew the answers to, so y'all failed that one. Let's see if Forrest does any better. And well, let's start with sort of what's going on with you, what's new, what's happening with the band. So we have, of course, Forest Violette, frontman, lyricist, and I like this chaos creator
Yes.
at
Love that.
Voltagehead, professional.
If you've ever seen a live show, you'll know why.
Yeah. Yes. So Chaos Creator, which I kind of want to steal that title. And for Voltagehead, of course, this is a Atlanta band that is making big waves. So again, like I said, all that stuff down below. If you want to check them out, they're on everything.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah,
You guys are on
any place
everything.
you like to get your music, whether it's Amazon Music, iTunes, or Apple Music, no iTunes anymore.
Yeah, Apple Music, Google,
Pandora,
Google Play,
Spotify,
Spotify.
all of those things. And,
Octane?
Octane, yeah, we're on Sirius Octane.
There you
You
go.
can message Sirius or call them up. I guess if you can't call them up, message them and ask them to play Voltagehead. We're
you
on
go.
their database.
There you go. Which what song have they played? Have they done the whole album? Or?
I'm not sure that it would be either One More Reason or Flight of the Killing Bird. Those are the two that we're actively pushing right now.
Okay.
There's about, I think it's around 150 stations right now, terrestrial radio stations playing our stuff around the country.
Terrestrial
One of
radio
which is actually the closest radio station to my own hometown, which I think is really funny. A little tiny town in the middle of Oregon. And so,
Oregon.
yeah.
Yeah.
and,
So which one is that?
it's, I can't remember the name. It's KEOL or KOEL, one of the two. I don't know.
One of the two. One of the
Yeah,
two.
it's either KEOL or KOEL, and that's a local college radio station, and
Nice.
but they're a 50,000 watt broadcast, so they got a pretty good range.
50,000 watts.
Pretty big.
Power.
I'm from a tiny town too, so I understand how far radio broadcast can go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we didn't have in my town was so small. We didn't have any local radio station. We didn't even have MTV. We had CMT. That was it. We were a landlocked bubble of very little music.
There was one building in my hometown about the size of this basement that housed 3 radio stations, and that was for like an entire area of Louisiana and Arkansas, like 5 counties and parishes.
Crazy. Well, you do what you have to, right?
Yeah.
Do what you
At
have
least
to.
they're sending music out to people.
That's it. And we've actually talked quite a bit about pirate radio and college radio, and we've done all those things.
Yeah,
so
now internet radio is
I
just
love
taking
pirate
over.
internet radio,
We're on
satellite
a
radio.
whole bunch of internet radio stations. I don't even know the number on that.
Nice.
Now you're getting these local, not local, kind of like an independent radio DJ. And those guys are taking off, and they're each developing their following. So whenever one of them supporting us, we try to support them too by sharing their stuff.
Nice.
Rhino
So-
Radio
so-
has been playing us a lot. I know him. He's been doing really good. Several others I can't think of off the top of my head because
Right.
I'm always on the spot. I can't think of things.
It's all right. It's, it's how we're going to go through the gauntlet. But so how do you guys go about, like, for anybody that's sort of new, they've got a band, they're getting some success, they're putting stuff out. Do you actively go seek these things? What do you do as a marketing plan to get into?
Well, we are contracted right now. Not contracted. We're working with Skateboard Marketing. That's a pretty big firm out of New York City, and so we're working with them. They've got us in all the databases across the country. They have a big list of stations they work with. So some stations you can't just get on by calling them up or sending a CD.
Yeah,
you have
exactly.
To have
So
some
what
kind of
is
representation. So
Gotcha. Okay.
that's how we're doing that. this is a world where you're not going to just play a show probably and have a famous producer be in the audience and get found that way. It just doesn't happen like that anymore. So you got to push yourself through internet presence and kind of any way you can, promotions, marketing, and so you got to have a good team to be able to help you push stuff out, because there's no way you can know everybody. You need people who know people you don't know.
Sure, and it's talking to people.
Right, it's talking to people.
It's who do you know.
We got really lucky because Sean Martin, our guitarist for Voltagehead, one of them, he had some previous connections from the old band Longclaw, and so they were when they were on Pavement, they had these connections, and so our representative actually contacted Sean and said, "Hey, I see you got some new stuff. What's going on?" And that's
cool.
where that connection was made, and so we hooked up with him, and it's been pretty good so far.
Yep. And we will get the band back on. I was talking to Danny last night or Saturday. It seems like last night, but Saturday, and he was like, "We need to come back on." And I was like, "Yeah, once I have my beeping machine, we'll have you guys back on." But so one of the questions was, kind of like people wondering, well, how do you get onto all these things? And a lot about it is, you don't just do the CD anymore and mail it into the radio station and hope it gets picked up.
Yeah, in fact, some radio stations can't play your stuff if
they
you send
can't
it that way.
accept
They
it
can't play it
even.
unless it's represented by somebody that they are already working with, which really limits the little guy from getting into anything substantial without either paying for representation or knowing someone for representation.
Right, and like, would that be like a manager thing or
a
manager,
label, promotions,
promoter,
marketer, somebody who already kind of has the relationship with the radio station.
Gotcha. So got to find those people,
which makes it. That's why you hear a lot of the same stuff on the radios, because there's not a lot of those larger people who have the big influence on the radio. So we're working with a smaller company, but they're still pretty big. And the skateboarder's been really good for us.
Nice. Yep. We're kind of hooking you up with all of that stuff. So you guys you've got a CD out. When did that come out? When did
that came out January 20th of this year.
This year, yeah. So you've been rocking that. And live shows, was that the last Saturday, the first live show that y'all have done?
No, we've done a couple. We've been okay with playing some shows. We played in October. We played Furnace 41. I'm trying to remember actually. Yeah, we did take a little bit of hiatus. We've done some less conventional things. We did a acoustic set. Nice. At a small place in Covington, and that was really good. And then we did it as since we weren't doing the big shows, we did it as like a soft CD release. Like
soft porn, not just
not quite.
Not quite.
It's like a soft CD release party. We had
awesome.
We had a really good turnout, real surprising for as small of a venue as it was. And then we've also done a couple of live performance, kind of like this. We did the Beery Traveler podcast, which is kind of similar, a little bit bigger room. So we set ourselves up acoustically and did that. That was a lot of fun. We actually did that twice.
Nice.
And and then I guess as a full band, we had to replace our drummer, who left in October of last year, early of last year. And to find a good fit took us a little while, but now we've got a great fit, and Mike, our new guy, is doing great, man. Shout out to Mike Foraker, you're killing it out there. And nice. So our show on Saturday was, I guess, our first big return as a full band to the stage, and we had a lot of fun. It was great.
That was great.
We get to go out and do what we love to do, and if the audience is loving it too, it's just a bonus for everybody.
It was cool, man. And so talk a little bit about that.
Bannister ran sound.
Yeah, Bannister ran sound. So talk a little bit about that, because so a lot of people don't know that music has original music is starting to come back. Some of it takes going out and doing it yourself and organizing it yourself.
Well, that's how we ran this show. It was at Best End Brewery, and
it's down on the West
Best
End.
Brewing,
yeah,
very close.
Yeah.
And they're at the West End, Atlanta. And we just were in there one day and started talking to one of the bartenders who just happened to be mutual friends with a bunch of people. Nice. One thing led to another, and and we pitched them basically to run a live show that was all original, but structure it like a cover band would, come in, play for 4 hours. We would fill a 4 hour block.
Still fill it. Normally they have the DJs, right? So
right.
normally it's like a DJ will cover that 4 hours.
And
but
they've had a couple live bands there too, cover bands. And we just, they liked the idea. We told them we would pick the bands and we would headline and we would be the hosts and we would just make the night go as smooth as possible. And it did. It went really well. They liked the idea and they've already asked us to do it again. So
yes, that's what it's about. And you had Cure My Enemy on there, Rose for Tomorrow, and of course Bree Fox with Toxic Foxtrot, opening it all up.
Yeah, so much talent. And just barely a scratch of the surface of what's out there.
Yeah.
And get you guys into one of those.
Yeah, I know. I sent them photos and I was like, look what you guys are missing, man. But that's what it takes, and I'm so glad to see like sort of live music start to come back, and especially original music, because a lot of people are still like, well, the only thing I've seen is tribute and cover. So it's good to see live music come back if it's original music, but especially downtown Atlanta. Like we're talking about, like it's in the it's basically pretty close to the perimeter. So this is coming back, but also it's kind of like, well, we're back to that DIY kind of thing, which is how do you, instead of complaining, how do you go out and make it happen?
Right. How do you make it happen?
Like okay, so live music isn't being played at this bar out in the, bedroom communities of Atlanta. So how do you make it happen?
Right.
And that's how you make it happen. So,
well, as long as you can make it, the venue is there to make money.
Yeah.
That's what they
I was
they
about
have
to
to
say,
do.
you have to show them how it's going to be profitable.
And exactly.
Right.
So your job, if you're going to bring a show like that, is to make sure that you're bringing people, butts and seats, and they got to buy alcohol and food.
Got to buy alcohol and food. Yeah.
Well, it's got to be a profitable night for
I know I bought alcohol. I got about 5 different brews there.
They have really good beer there.
They have some good stuff. Yeah. The upgrade was upgraded. It was pretty awesome. The upgrade was an upgrade. It was good.
Oh, really? Is that one of the beers?
That's one of the beers.
I've tried them all,
upgrade.
but I can't remember all their names.
So and that's what it takes too, is just getting out, but also supporting each other. So a lot of the people who were there were also fellow band people, musicians and stuff from all around Atlanta, and a lot of people, that's what's so great about Atlanta. But it's also like, don't complain, go make connections, go talk to people, go to these shows, go to these live shows, go to these community networked local shows, and introduce yourself.
Right. Not only did the venue already ask us to do it again, but we've had several bands already contact us when to get on the next one.
Yeah, hell yeah. So we're gonna keep it going, and that's that's kind of where Garage Fest came from, and sort of that idea. Great. So we're gonna keep it rolling. So what's next for Voltagehead?
We have a show in a couple of weeks at Furnace 41.
Is that the Carnival Chaos?
Carnival Chaos. Yep.
Coming
we're
up.
Playing the Rock Night, because they're doing the Rock Night on Friday and the Metal Night on Saturday, and we fit a little bit nicer into the rock category. We're not screaming metal, so we're not quite. We're a little bit below that level. We're still aggressive, heavy rock, just not in the metal category. So we decided to take the first night, and Bo's a great guy. He's been real good to us, and we also have some other cool announcements coming up.
Nice.
And
cool announcements we're sharing, or cool announcements we'll eventually
I will drop
share?
some hints as the night go. We're
there you go.
We're sitting on it.
Okay,
yet, but,
we're sitting on it.
You guys can guess if you want
to. All right. So we got lots of stuff coming out. I'm thinking. Let's see. You guys have some music videos out, right?
We do.
You've got 2.
We do. We have one. You were speaking of the lyric video earlier. Yep. We have a lyric video for "Flight of the Killing Bird." That's a song. It's basically a song about. It's military themed. In the small spectrum, it's about a paratrooper who jumps out of a helicopter. He's flying down. He's got visions of grandeur in his head. He's been told by his uppers that he is the strong arm of what's right. And he lands on the ground, looks around, and is killed instantly. Wow. So it's kind of a sad story, but it's in the bigger picture, it's a story about how in a larger cause, even people who don't make it all the way to the end are important. So it's still important to every step of the way needs the people to get to the end. I make it to the end, but you're the reason other people made it to the end.
Okay.
And then the other video we have is for One More Reason, and that's just a fun kind of a live video, not live video. You know, we did a bunch of really cool footage of us playing the songs, and just had a fun day of it. And we had an idea in our heads that we wanted, and then it just kind of evolved as the day went by, and it became something different. And
Nice.
we made a video. A shout out to Nick the Riot for that. That was really cool.
Nice.
And he did a good job producing that one.
Is this the one in the ruins, or was it? Yeah, this is
Yeah.
the one you guys did in the
Yeah,
ruins.
in the ruins, if you want to call it that. That's
In the
great.
ruins. That's a great song, though. In the
Yeah,
ruins.
it's a cool location. Really,
Yeah.
really good location. It was fun to shoot there.
Very cool, man. So my thought is that I might see another video. Could possibly happen.
Yeah, we're talking of a couple different ones. My wife Laura came up with a great concept for Cannonball today that I absolutely love. So I want to push that one to the front.
Okay.
And we're also talking about doing a video for Words on a Stone, which is our kind of a heartfelt acoustic ballad, if you want to call it that.
Nice. All right. So that's my guess. So I'm sure there'll be other things that will
yeah.
drop along the way. So how do you we were talking a little bit earlier about lyrics and songwriting, and like I said, I'm just trying to kind of go down that path myself. So where do you come up with your lyrics? So you told me something interesting. I want you to kind of repeat that and talk a little bit about how you take something and you go to you blow it up.
Yes.
To the extreme. So talk a little bit about how you write your stuff, how you write your lyrics.
Yeah,
Where does it
that's
come from?
normally my writing style. I'll listen to a song, because a lot of times, writing for Voltagehead is also different than writing my own original stuff. So Voltagehead will give me a song that's partially finished, and I'll take it, I'll break it down into pieces, and I'll write the pieces. Or I'll write the song, and if I need to change the arrangement. The Flight of the Killing Bird, we changed a lot.
Yeah.
They handed me a piece of music that was this way. I thought that the verse was a perfect hook, so we reversed the two parts, changed some other stuff, and it became Flight of the Killing Bird, and we're really happy with that one. So generally, I have the music or most of the music idea to work with, and then I listen to it enough to get some kind of an idea of what I want the song to be about. And then I try to pick a moment in my life that I can focus on and create something that is partially a life experience and partially a heavily exaggerated fiction.
Okay.
And so it's almost like taking a true story and making it a very untrue true story. Or
Okay.
I love the sound of that. I was about to ask you, like, when writing, do you fixate on a point of like kind of like of an understanding or a theme, and then kind of take other experiences or fictions you may have read and just kind of pile it all together?
Sometimes, again, it kind of depends on the subject I'm writing on. If I'm writing about something in my life, like that happened to me personally, then I usually stick to one point. And but Cannonball was one song that was written that was a little different. It was interaction with another person, and so I was
There's room
almost
for some imagination or interpretation there. Yeah.
yeah. So that other person, I took the interaction with them, and actually it was an interaction between three people, but I turned it into an interaction, and created something behind it of it's really about a difference of opinion or a difference in a way of looking at things. And so that's where Cannonball came from.
Okay.
And the
Not
fact
the
that-
breeder
that-
song.
Yeah, not the fact that, like, sometimes people think they know everything about what they know, and really all they know is what's in their circle.
What's in
just because everyone in
their
your circle
world.
thinks this way doesn't mean everyone in the world thinks that way. And
Yeah.
you probably have a circle that's too small if everyone in your circle
Thinks
agrees
the
with
same
everything
way.
you do.
Yep.
That's what good friends are about. Good friends are about telling you, man.
Good friends. Travel is
yeah.
good with that too. Kind of expanding sort of your outlook on life and how people have different stories and different backgrounds and different experiences. And
I'm from the West Coast. I grew up, lived there my whole life. Moved here about 9 years ago, and so I have a
Different.
view
It's
from
different.
both sides.
Yeah, it's
I've
different.
lived here long enough to absorb the culture of Atlanta. I love the South. I love the hospitality of the South. The weather here is great.
You can't beat the
I
weather.
grew up in a land of
Can't
snow
beat
and
the weather.
mountains, which is its own beauty. But I really like
Yeah.
living in a land where there's a little bit less snow, and but there's also a pretty big difference in overall mentality of not mentality, like maybe mentality is the right word, maybe it's not, but the West Coast is kind of all about change. It always has been. Everything's new. Oregon wasn't even a state until 1859, so everything over there is new. There's no real, like, there's no 300-year-old buildings.
Whereas in the South, and I feel like I can say this, I've been born, bred, and raised in the South. It's all about tradition.
Right.
This is the way that we do it. This is the way we've always done it. We can't change it because this is the way we do it.
This is how it's always been, and this is how it always needs to be. Unfortunately, the world doesn't work very well that way.
No.
The world needs
Well,
change.
I think we need
and
change.
And
but
part of our
we also
culture
need
here
both.
is that push and that pull and like those tensions
Right.
is really rising a lot right now.
Yeah, it is. But I will say, like, I feel like you kind of need both, and there has to be a balance.
You do,
I
yeah.
think you've got to, it's good to have a cultural heritage. It's good to have a strong point.
Yes.
Or a strong something that gives you some sort of part of your identity. But on the other hand, I feel like your identity needs to change and grow and develop as well as a person as you get out into the world, and hopefully you're being exposed to a lot of things in the world and whatnot.
Well, it takes all kinds of kinds. I mean, you need some folks with some gray hair to show you where you come from, but it's up to you to decide where you're going.
Yeah.
We don't still drive around in horse and buggies for a reason.
Because they're not efficient.
They're impractical for our
thank
our
goodness.
daily life.
Thank goodness. They also
There's a
smell.
lot of things that
I love horses, but
there's a lot of things that were very practical and very purposeful 100 years ago or any amount of years ago that are just not practical and purposeful today.
Right.
And so
We used to
there are things
scrape
that you
off
gotta change.
pus sores and put them into your own sores to get immunity, and now we have
Inoculations, which are much
All
more
sorts of
efficient
crazy.
and
I'm
less
glad I didn't
gross.
live with that day.
you know what I mean?
I
That's
would
what they
much
used
rather
to
get
do.
a shot in the arm.
Yeah, that's what they
Yes.
used to have to do. And you may or may not have lived that,
Yeah.
it's crazy. So interesting. So very cool, because it's good to hear like different points of view and how people write songs. I feel like everybody kind of writes it a little bit different. But it's it's kind of cool to hear that from you, because I've heard your stuff. I've heard all your songs, and so it's good. It's cool to kind of hear that background and know where that's going.
Does the time of day matter for you?
For writing?
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
I
okay.
don't. I have a lot of my artist friends who will wake up in the middle of the night with a song idea and they have to just get it out.
Yeah.
I don't do that, but I kind of do in the reverse. What'll happen is I'll wake up in the middle of the night, I'll get a song idea in my head, and I just can't go back to sleep. I don't get out of bed, but so I'll just run that over and over and over in my head, because I can play guitar also, so I can sometimes come up with chord structures in my head and everything, and it's a little bit of a curse sometimes, because I may not be able to go to sleep until the idea has kind of formulated itself. And so it might be 3 hours and I've got the same lyric line running through my head because I'm trying to expand on it.
Right.
And but I just don't get out of bed and do that. And I really respect the people who are able to do that. I'd love to sleep, so if I'm in bed,
For some
that's
reason, for me,
my time.
it hits me the most like with like after that first hour that I've gotten up for some reason.
Really?
Like.
I usually have to create an
Mornings.
environment
I'm not
for
a
myself.
morning. I'm middle of the night,
morning,
but everybody's
mornings
different.
are relative. Like when like after you wake up
no,
and like
no.
become yourself a little bit
No.
is when it hits me usually.
Yeah. If
My-
I'm
mine
writing for
is-
Voltagehead,
mine is
I
in the
do
night.
make I do make an environment for myself.
I think that's
I
important.
got to get myself away from everybody, and I
Yeah.
got to be loud because I got to be
Yeah.
able to sing in full voice.
Yeah.
And when I sing in full
is-
voice, I'm loud. I can't just do that in the living room with the kids.
Yeah,
watching
no,
TV and
that's
stuff.
something to that. That's what I'm finding
Yeah.
out recently, where it's like you really got to get a point where you can hear it in the volume in your
Right,
head. I guess
right.
is maybe
Right.
what you're saying, and be able to as if it was a show live. Like, what would
Right.
that sound like?
Right, exactly. And I play with melody lines over and over and over again until I get them right. And even when I get them right, they're still evolving until they're recorded. They're never
Yeah.
done until they're recorded.
Very
And
true,
I've
yeah.
actually started working on an acoustic solo album, which is going
Nice.
to be about 15 tracks, around half and
Oh,
half
cool.
covers,
Oh.
covers and originals.
Yep.
Some of the covers I do when I do my acoustic solo shows are very much torn apart and rebuilt. And
Okay.
so I'm
Okay, so
using-
they're not like exact covers. You are gonna take the spirit of it.
right.
Okay.
Most of the ones I'm doing for this song, a couple of them I do pretty close to the original, but I'm trying to, at least with this run, showcase some of my more original
Nice.
versions
Okay.
of covers.
All right, so
and,
give us some examples. Which ones are you
A
doing?
good one would be "Too Late for Love" by
Okay.
Def Leppard. Right? A great song.
It's a great
Cool.
A
song.
lot of guitar parts, a lot of high harmonies. So I also don't use harmonizers. I don't use backing vocals. So I just wanted to create a song that would be good with one guitar and one voice from a song that was many parts. And so what you have to do when you're doing it like that is you have to remove enough that you can do it yourself, but keep enough to where you don't lose the essence of the song.
Yeah.
And that's the
That's a
trickiest
fine
part.
line.
It is. And if you overcomplicate it, you may not be able to play the parts. And
Yes, I've done that to myself.
You're also singing it
You gotta
and
take enough
playing.
out
Yeah.
that you can perform it with passion and lose yourself in the moment, but not lose your spot in the song.
Oh.
And but still have enough in there that the people are hearing what they're hearing in their heads.
Yeah.
And it's a tricky thing when you're playing a cover that has multiple parts, because you know that if you leave a part out, the people are going to hear it in their heads. So like a little lead line.
But sometimes you can. Yeah, I was gonna say, but sometimes you can bank on the fact that people are hearing that
That's what
in
I
your
do.
head.
That's what I was going to get at. Is I
Yeah.
will leave certain parts out that I know I can't really play right, because they're going to hear it in their heads.
Yeah.
They'll know it's there. Especially a song like that everyone's heard 1,000 times. It's a great song.
Right. We all know the tagline, or the what was the song that everybody likes? I'll think of it in a second. Anyways, we got to go to the Gauntlet of Fire, because
right.
we're actually
Already?
I know.
Wow.
It went really
This
quick,
is so
doesn't
much
it?
fun. Yeah,
Doesn't it?
Time just blows
time
by.
I
flies.
love discussing this stuff.
And I do love discussing this
Yeah.
stuff, so that's why we do this every week.
All right.
And to keep it from being 3 hours.
Every week. So
Every week.
subscribe. If you
Yeah.
haven't done it yet, hit that subscribe
250.
button.
Yeah,
And if
it's
you have already,
250. I think we got
awesome.
2 in this just
All
this
right.
beginning part.
If we can
so
hit 250, I'll come back.
okay, there you go.
You have to come
even,
back.
Even if we don't, I'll come back.
We'll come back. So I love talking about this stuff, and I wish we had more time for it. We've already gone way over time,
Wow.
actually, but
Okay.
it's great. I love it. Thank you
You guys
for
are easy to talk to.
inspiring me and inspiring people out there. I hope you guys go out and write some songs, because
Do it.
just go do it, man. Go write something.
It's
I
been
mean,
on your
write
mind anyway. Just
write
get
a
it down.
poem, write some lyrics, write a story.
The best piece of advice I ever got in my life for songwriting was write about what you know.
Write about what you know. Write
Simple-
about.
simple.
I've
let it
gotten
out.
something similar.
Yeah.
To
Simple
some of the best
and
advice
easy
for
to
writing.
take to heart.
There you go. There you go, guys.
You
All
won't-
right.
That way you won't sound fake.
Won't sound fake.
Too much
Hey,
music sounds fake.
there's that, and sometimes not. But hey, who am I to judge? Because we have to go through the Gauntlet, which
All
I will
right.
judge you on. So that's
will
coming
judge
up.
me on it?
I'm just kidding. All right. So we are going to do, because you've already done your stripper name, we're going to do your stage name this
All
time,
right.
which is going to be your middle name.
I don't have one.
You don't have a middle
You'll
name.
have to rethink your strategy.
Oh shit. Okay.
Do
well,
I need one?
no. All right. If you had a middle name, what would you go with?
Oh my gosh. What would fit between Forest and Violette? Toik.
Toik. Okay. So Toik. And what was the first car that you had?
First car I had, it was a Datsun.
Toik Dotson. There you go. I don't know if that's really a great stage name.
Can I
Not
change my
Memo.
middle name? Because Voltage is so much cooler.
Voltage Dodge. There you go.
Voltage Datsun.
Voltage Dodson tonight on stage for the Gauntlet of Fire. All right. So I haven't asked you this one before. This is
right.
a newer question. What is the most beat up album in your collection?
Probably Diver Down by Van Halen.
Okay, that's
Oh,
different.
that's
We
an
don't usually-
awesome
That's
one.
a great one, man.
That
I
one's
always forget about
got
that one.
Mean Street on it, which is
Yeah, it's
very
so good.
and Unchained, which
Unchained.
probably my two favorite Van Halen songs.
Two little guitars too.
They're just so
Yeah.
good. I mean, they're
I
just
love
so
Diver
well.
Down.
Nobody plays that anymore.
Yeah,
either,
so well
man.
written, and you know, I'm very lucky to actually perform both those songs with Silver Tongue, my cover band.
There you go.
My guitarist Colby Mode is he's always been into Van Halen, and he can play like fucking Eddie Van
Nice.
Halen.
What's the other Van Halen you play?
We do both Unchained and Mean Street.
Okay.
Both songs.
You can go. So check out
And we also do Panama
Silver Tongue.
and Ice Cream Man and a bunch of them. We could do about a dozen.
Wow, nice. And Bannister says 250.
250.
250. Are we at 250?
Thanks, Banny.
Dang.
We are 250?
I'm going to refresh. Are we at 250?
350.
You know,
Oh,
I was in
man.
sales for a long time, and
Wow.
the very best
we
thing
hit
to
it?
do is
We did.
as
It's
soon
my
as you-
day.
As soon as you hit
This is
a
the
goal,
best day,
you
Amy.
immediately set a higher one.
Are you serious?
This
Yes.
is seriously,
This is a great
we
day.
just hit this.
This is a wonderful day.
You guys are amazing.
You
Oh my
guys
God.
are awesome.
Seriously, I love you guys. I mean, that is like the best thing to happen to me, like probably all month, maybe
Yeah,
I
almost
get to
all
come
year.
back.
And we get to bring this clown back. That's right. Sean, if you're listening.
Yeah, you
If
know,
you're listening,
my biggest thing, I would love to see Sean trapped in a room full of clowns.
Oh no, no. Well, you're not supposed to spill the beans. All right, so we actually have Mark on too.
All
Mark
right.
Fugel. I think I always mess this up. LB Guitar, you're back too. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Congrats. You guys are amazing. Seriously. I hate to say it, I really didn't think we were going to get there. We were
Mark
sitting
You
Ferrara.
have to believe, Amy.
I know. We were sitting at 222 for probably
250.
6 months, and I'm like, we're never going to get there.
350.
And
There you
you
go.
guys
That's
made
your
it
next goal.
happen. You guys made it happen. Thank you so much. And Unchained was from Fair Warning.
Oh, it was a fair warning. Okay, yeah.
He's calling
I
you
didn't-
out.
I didn't know. I knew
Mark's
the album.
calling
I just
you
didn't know
out.
the album name.
You're awesome.
They all run together for me because they're all so
You guys
good.
are awesome. Like I said, we do the trivia. Hopefully tonight we're gonna have a good trivia night.
I hope so, because I got some stuff.
Yeah. So because we didn't have anybody win any virtual points last week, so hopefully
I'm at
tonight
least one. I'm ahead of everybody.
you
from
did
last
get
week.
one tonight. So we
You
have
got
one.
Tchaikovsky.
We
With
did
that hint.
Tchaikovsky. So
That was
so,
a good hint.
That was a good
It
hint.
was a big hint.
So you guys listen about that. We got a full chat room right now. Very
Yes.
Hey,
excited about
thank
that.
you guys. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
tuning in.
350.
Hell yeah, man. 350. 350.
350. That's the next number.
350. All right. So let me ask you, what defunct store would you want to bring back?
Defunct store.
Yeah.
Oh.
Blockbuster.
Which, by the way, I found my Blockbuster card.
Oh,
I
really?
actually found my Blockbuster card. I meant to bring it down, but I had my Blockbuster card. It has my name on it and everything. I mean, it is just literally a piece of crap piece of paper
Yeah.
that's like laminated.
Block.
But I found my Blockbuster card.
I think I would actually bring out like Borders or something.
You
I don't
know,
think I put it in there. No, I didn't bring it down.
There's like bookstores are disappearing and
I love
record stores are
bookstores.
disappearing.
Yeah.
Borders was a cool store.
Yeah.
I
just go play chess there.
I got my first signed CD from a real band from a Borders.
Oh,
and,
wow.
And the Spokane auction Stained.
Nice.
And the whole
Cool.
band was there signing. It was so cool. If I had a defunct store I could bring back, it'd have to
Yeah.
be Radio Shack. I know they're not all gone.
Yeah, you
But-
know what? I
but
You,
want
don't
they're
see,
to.
coming
you can't find one hardly.
Yeah, they're
They're
because
very few and far between.
yeah. I think that style of store will come back because electronics is becoming less of a wizardry.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I
people
mean,
are
everybody's
starting to learn-
dabbling in
yeah.
it now. But see, to hear, all right, Radio Shack, if you want to come back, all right, give me some boom boxes. I want my boom box.
They just have to change their
Walkmans.
They'd probably have to partner with Apple.
I want my Walkman back. I don't want the
If
shuffle.
you want any
I
kind of
can do
success,
the
you have to
shuffle.
partner with
I can do
Apple.
without the I can do without the iPad shuffle, but bring back my Walkmans and my boom boxes, and then make them coolers.
You know what I actually miss is a good old fashioned indestructible iPod.
The old versions of them.
They
yeah.
were indestructible.
Yeah, because
man.
like I skate.
They're
right?
gone, right?
I
Yeah.
have one
I
actually.
mean, I have
The
several.
mini,
that-
the first,
I have the mini,
the first
yeah.
mini with the little
I
screen.
have
Those
it.
were great.
I still have a Nano because like I
Oh, the
skateboard.
Nano, that's
yeah,
the one,
I
yeah.
skateboard,
Nano,
right? And
yeah.
so like I want to listen to music while I skate, but like I don't want to break my phone.
Yeah.
So like I need something
Oh.
that's not so freaking expensive that I can fall on.
Tower Records. We've had a couple
Yeah.
votes for Tower Records.
Yeah.
They are not still open as far as I know. Like they're
I
gone.
never got to go to.
They
a
may
Tower
come back
Records.
though. There's
I
a
grew
chance.
up in too small of a town. Tower Records was nowhere close to where I grew
There's
up
a
at.
chance. They're trying to bring it back. We had a story. It's been a while ago though, so I'll have to go back and look at that. Yeah, about trying to bring that back. Apparently, Marx's eBay has all of this.
Yeah, they do, of course.
Well, yeah, you can buy all this stuff on eBay, but I'm talking about I want to see it back, like
That's right.
and new.
You know,
and then
just
you
like
That's
back to
right.
the bar owners, there's got to be a reason for them to make money.
Yeah.
Laura, will you grab that poly thing real quick?
Poly thing?
Yeah. I'll let you. So I found my my keyboard. For you guys that don't know, all of the early '80s, like Salt and Pepper and all this stuff was written
Salt
on
and
one of these
Pepper.
things. Yeah. And she's grabbing it
There's
for
no
you.
R in Peppa.
Peppa. Just take the power off. Oh, take that off too. Yeah. And I found my poly.
Just rip it out of the wall.
And it's literally has like guitar straps on it.
Do you want me to hold it?
Thank you.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because you used to be able to stand up and play
So
that
so
thing.
you could play guitar with this.
Guitar.
So I got my poly. I don't know if you can see
You
it.
can do Devo shows with that.
You can do Devo shows with this thing. Classic right here. So yeah, I got this back. So y'all be prepared for some ridiculous things that are about to happen.
No, say it right. Ridiculous.
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 Ridiculous. Thank you, Laura.
Ridiculous.
By the way, we have Laura in the house. She's an amazing photographer.
Sure is.
I love the stuff that she does. So make sure you check it out. She's got a bunch more stuff coming out.
I feel like there's something in between this.
Oh, do you feel like music is in between us, Julie? Should I move it? Do you feel like
a sonic wall?
Do you feel like a piece of hardware splits us in half?
Sometimes.
I will put it over there to be friends with Forrest for a little bit. All right. All right, there you go. You know what's crazy though? I had to find a AC power supply. Like this crazy thing.
I bet
You have
you
to
got
get
it
one
on
for
eBay.
it, yeah.
Yeah, and I did. Really got it on eBay.
You could have bought it at Radio
I'm
Shack.
wasting money on Amazon trying to
coulda
find the right
bought it.
freaking power adapter. And I think it's
Coulda
the right one.
bought
I
it.
get it and it doesn't
See
fit.
right
It
there,
doesn't
Radio
work.
Shack got
See,
that on one
Radio
sale this
Shack.
week.
I would have been able to come in with this thing and been
I'd
like,
be like,
what
I
is
need
my
freaking
thing?
help here, and they would help you instead of
would help
wasting
me.
money on
They
Amazon
would
on
help
the
me.
wrong adapter.
Yeah.
Happens
They
to
would
me all
help
the
me.
time.
They would help
They
me.
used to actually be able to go into an electronics store and they would
No.
know what they were talking about.
They would. They
That's
actually
not
had to do
so much
training.
true anymore.
No,
I worked for
no, not
I
really.
worked for a store that is no longer in business, and we sold computers, and we had training mandatory every week, and
Yep.
I when that store closed down, I went to another store that actually also just closed down, and I noticed the biggest difference was they did not offer
Any
anything
trainings.
their
Training.
employees, and the type of the caliber of salesman was quite a bit different.
Yep.
They were more of a pushy salesman instead of a informative
Let me help you
sales-
figure out your
Yeah,
problem,
you're
salesman.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, interestingly enough, Starbucks used to train you. You would go away to coffee camp.
They don't do that anymore.
They don't do it anymore.
Oh.
It's all gone. You would spend
Barista school.
several weekends actually tasting
Yeah.
coffees from
Yeah.
I was about
around
to
the
say, I'm
world
sure you
and
drink
how
a
to
lot of
brew it
coffee
and
at
all
coffee
that stuff.
camp.
Yeah.
And you would have to blindfold, describe coffee, and do all the things. Where did it came from? What kind of earth did it
I
grow
remember
in?
that. I didn't know they
And they
stopped
do
doing
all that.
that.
Yeah,
Really?
no, they don't do it anymore.
They
So
got
now
just
it's
too
about
big.
now it's timing. It's all about, well, did this person get through the drive-through in two minutes? So it's all changed.
That's also why they make you move forward in your car and the drive-through when there's nobody behind you. Can you move forward and we'll bring it out the door? No, I'm going to sit here and rack up your time because you're too slow.
Yeah, they get penalized for that stuff. It's ridiculous. He has a Tapco mixer and can't find a power supply for it, man. Yeah, no, the struggle's real for these mixers.
Yeah.
I will say,
It's
like
very real.
there are like you can only have this one
especially
power
if
supply.
it's that weird 5-pin DIN plug. Those are so hard
Yeah.
to find.
Yeah, and it's crazy, and it's almost like the power supply is as much as the mixer. So
yeah.
it's it's really crazy. All right, so let's talk about outdated slang.
All right.
What's outdated slang do you use?
Cool.
Shamelessly.
Cool.
Cool.
I use the word cool
I use the
100
word
times
cool.
a day.
I use
Rad.
coolio.
Rad.
Coolio.
Rad's a good
Rad.
one. I use cool.
Coolio.
Sick.
I use man.
It's sick.
The word man for everybody. Hey man, how are you? Hey, how you doing?
Hey, the cat outside. Hey, man.
Hey man, yeah, exactly. The cat outside.
I know. And by the way, Elizabeth Church, who's on here, which it's so good to see you on here.
Hey, Church.
And she was with me back in the early days of
At
the
Coffee
Starbucks, and remembers when we had to go through training. Like we had to do all this stuff.
You know firsthand of coffee training.
I do. I worked for Starbucks for more than 10 years,
Wow.
and Church was working with me, and we got to be great friends, and kind of moved on from there. And then eventually, when I didn't want to work McDonald's anymore, which I called it,
Call Starbucks McDonald's.
yeah, it was just different, and it was a lot of time. But yeah, I worked for Starbucks for a long time, so I can make a mean cup of coffee and a mean espresso. But all that secret menu crap, I was way ahead of all that. Sorry, TikTokers that have 5 million freaking views on one stupid coffee crunch, whatever the hell you make.
Unicorn drink.
I already did that. I was way ahead of you. I just didn't have the technology at the time.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
this was like
early
early 2000s.
Now it's amazing what you can, with the
everywhere.
audience you can create and capture. And all that is still a mystery to me. I haven't done the TikTok thing yet.
Yeah.
But I am researching it because I understand that.
We're gonna
it's
get a
powerful
TikTok
platform.
expert on here because
really?
I'm trying to understand it as well.
I'm
so
trying
we
to.
were
I've been
working
reading
on that.
reading articles for like 3 days,
Yeah.
and I understand how the platform works.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why people would want to
Well,
watch this
that's
stuff.
that's the same thing. So some of my younger, some of my younger people out there
Yeah.
were explaining it to me recently in a party. It didn't go so well. I really tried to understand what the heck they were talking about. But yeah, I don't know.
I get it.
But
It's
it's
just not that fascinating.
Yeah. I think it
closer
comes
to
from
you.
the attention span thing. Instagram was at first it was 1 minute videos, and now you can watch more because attention spans get shorter. Well, now it's 15 seconds, so they've even dropped that bar a little bit lower,
But
and
see,
you can watch more.
You can
faster.
do all this. So that's the thing. That like you can do that on YouTube. You can do that on Instagram. You can
yeah.
do that on all these platforms.
But they limit you to your maximum is 15 seconds. So and it shuffles them. I've been reading about the way they do the algorithm. It's actually very cool.
Yeah.
And it doesn't limit you. Everybody gets the same chance at first. If you put something out there, it gets randomly put into people's streams.
Okay.
Randomly to everybody. And it can come up at any time with anybody. And then once it gets shared, it's now more likely to randomly come on a stream. So
Okay.
and as it gets shared more and more and more, it now becomes more
I feel like that's
exponentially
kind
more
of what
likely.
already happens, except for the sort of random at the beginning, where everybody kind of gets the same.
Yeah, I think that's the thing is the
think
random at the
that's the
beginning
difference.
is a good way to let everybody have their chance to get in there. you
Yeah.
know? And
Well, basically, kind of what I got from our conversation was the idea of like kind of being the first on a new platform, and
yeah.
then that's the timing, being at the right place at the right time with the right whatever thing. And I'm like, okay, to me, it's like if we come to the next platform, are you going to move to that? And then when the next one comes around in 2 years, you're going to move to that. And then when the next one comes around in 2 years, you're going to move to that. Like, I don't know. There's got to be some answer to the madness to me in some ways.
The answer is probably If you want to stay relevant, you are.
That's
gonna
pretty
do
much
it.
what they said. They're like,
Yes,
you
are.
just keep
You
doing it. And
absolutely
I'm
are.
like,
changing
Yeah.
world like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
In a world of change,
Yeah.
You have to
there's
change.
always going to be something new.
Yep.
There's always going to be someone who thinks they have a different idea or a better
Yeah.
idea. Or
You have to be that chameleon.
Yeah, exactly. And so you have to change with
that's
the
pretty
times.
much, that's pretty much what they were saying. And I was
Yeah,
like,
I
all
was
right.
I was hanging on with two hands to MySpace when when everybody else
It's
was
coming
on Facebook.
back. It's
When
coming back.
But and
It's coming
it is. You're
back.
right.
It's coming
and,
back.
And so I
But you don't have access to your old profile, and I'm so sad because all those goofy pictures and videos.
Really? You don't have access to your old profile?
No,
Oh.
they
Yeah,
deleted
they
all
wiped
that. You
it.
can't get it.
I'm so glad.
You can't get it.
I'm so glad.
So I
It's
miss
gone-
the
it's gone
16-year-old me
forever.
that was on MySpace. But yeah,
I'm glad that I didn't grow up in the world of video everything and capture devices everywhere. I mean, I did a lot of stupid crap in my youth. That
Oh,
there's absolutely no record
next
of.
time,
Yeah,
because we
same.
have
Yep.
reached
Most of my life is
our
online.
goal, we are going to get into some of those ridiculous
There is
stories.
no record.
By the way, you also
I
have
didn't do it. Nobody saw me do it, and you can't prove anything.
Joshua Burge is on.
Hey,
By
Josh.
the way, saying hey. So yeah, thank you for joining us. So yeah, that's so next time we bring him on, we got to keep going with the Gauntlet because we're going down
yeah.
these rabbit holes, which is so much fun.
There are so many rabbit
But we do have an entire second half that we do have to get to. So
All right.
all right, so we're gonna kind of move along, and I'm gonna ask you this one, which I have never asked anybody. What is the best movie soundtrack in your opinion?
best movie dude, that's a hard question.
I know.
There are
That's a good
really
one.
good movie soundtracks.
Yeah.
I'm not a movie buff, but like I
it's got to be heavy metal.
Heavy metal. All
Heavy
right,
metal
yeah.
has got to be the best music soundtrack of any movie ever made. The cartoon, it's got one way heavy metal noise from Van Hagar or from Sammy Hagar. It's got some Bluester Cult on there. It's got Iron Maiden. I mean, it's just so good. Every song is phenomenal. That's my hands down.
That's it. All right. So remember, guys, out in the chat room, y'all could also vote. You can answer these questions. Let us know what you think the best soundtrack is. I would agree with you. That's a great one. I always go back to The Lost Boys.
That's one of your favorites.
It's one of my favorites. I always go back to
I've
that.
only seen that movie once when it first came out.
Yeah.
I love Interview with a Vampire.
I remember.
Obviously.
Now, Interview with a Vampire, I've probably seen 10 times. That movie's
That's
great.
a great movie.
And I remember Lost Boys was great.
As far as like compositions for movies, though, The Last of the Mohicans.
That's a great one too, man.
That soundtrack.
Actually,
That's a good one,
that's
yeah.
a very good. I love especially the ending. That ending one when he's running up the mountain to get the guy who's got his girl.
And I love the compositions for all the Lord of the Rings films too.
Yeah,
Those are great.
Those are like epic.
Yeah.
those are
Epic
more. Yeah, those are more.
compilations.
Cinematic,
Those
thematic.
are great.
Well,
almost
I
almost
love
like
John
modern
Williams
classical.
though, and like I
Yeah.
mean he's a great composer, and like I'm a violin player too. I grew up playing orchestra, so like I kind of have a heart for it. But like
Yes, great.
yeah,
Yeah,
Those
they're
are
more
great.
like modern classical, which is also
Yeah.
really good. You know, the Star Wars scores are great. The
Those
Star
are
Trek scores are great.
amazing.
I'm a non-biased. I love Star Wars and Star Trek equally.
Well, that is on our vote. Are you a Trekkie? Or are you a Star Wars?
I love them both, but I gotta go Star Wars.
I am a long-time Trek fan. I was watching Star Trek before Star Wars came out, but I also saw Star Wars every single one of them in the theater.
So you're rare
I
because
read
I
the
feel
books.
like most people
I
saw
read a
Star
couple of
Wars
books, too.
first and then Trek, and
Yeah,
I don't
my
meet
parents
many
were watching
people
Star
are the
Trek when it
yeah
was,
we were
when
Trekkies
there
in
were
our
still
house.
new episodes coming out.
The
Well, no,
Crow
no.
soundtrack is great too, by the way. Yes, Mark, I agree. That's usually the one I follow up. I do my Lost Boys and then I do the Crow soundtrack.
Nice. Yeah,
pretty
that's a
much.
good one, too.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Those are both so dark.
I know. Didn't know that about me. No, those are great. All right, so we got to keep going. We got 3 more questions out there,
right.
guys. And number 1 is, what do you think a rat liquor is?
Is that liquor with a CK or liquor with a
Could be
QU?
either.
With either.
The interpretation is up to you. So we didn't say if it was a rat liquor or a rat liquor.
Okay.
It's up to you.
A rat liquor. Is it anything like a cake sniffer?
A cake sniffer.
Is it some weird British slight?
All right, we have never had that one. That is a first.
Like
That's
a pillow
great.
biter.
You rat liquor, you pillow
Pole beater.
A pole beater. Oh my goodness.
Rat liquor is
A fluffer.
it's an. Are you talking about a new slang or old? Because
It's a new one that has come
it was
up.
something that they used to call people who were plague deniers.
Okay, you're getting there.
And my guess is it would be the same thing they would call mask deniers.
You're getting there. Yeah.
Okay, so there's my guess.
Okay.
Someone who refuses to wear a mask.
He's a very brilliant
You're
man.
close. You're close.
Yes.
But it's kind of the same idea of that, but we're not going to actually say it the whole
Okay.
thing, so we're going to keep
Okay.
it a mystery for everybody out there and our guests and
All right.
anybody coming on. All right. Closest, though. Closest I think anybody has ever gotten.
Okay.
Like in the game of hot cold, he's like scorching right now.
Oh,
pretty
geez,
good.
really?
Yeah.
Damn it! I'm so close.
Right
now it
there.
makes me want to
He's
try
right
harder.
there. Almost got it.
Close. All right. And we did have some votes real quick for movie soundtracks. John Comforter, of course, does some amazing stuff. And then we
yeah.
have The Thing, They Live,
Yeah.
Big Trouble in Little China is also
Oh
good.
yeah,
That's
that's a
good one.
killer one.
Yeah.
Whoever
LB,
did that
man,
one, that's
you got it.
badass. Is that Bannister?
Yeah, that's LB actually, one
LB,
of our
okay.
new friends
That's
here
killer.
on the podcast. Yep, he's really good at trivia, so watch out. He might beat you for your point.
All right.
Uh-oh, he's going to take
I
that
know. I
point.
think he might beat you for the point. All right. And Mark, you did get one. I've got you down for 1 point. Actually, I got all 3 of you down for 1 point. So
right.
let's see.
Is a rat liquor a COVID denier?
You have to look it up, and we'll talk about it
All
after
right.
we get out.
All right.
I know.
We're
That's
not
my
going to say it on
final- that's
air
my
because we're
final
asked the
guess.
question again.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So we're gonna do concert roulette. Choose a number between 1 and 12.
7.
7.
That's one I always pick.
That's one you always pick. What was the most surprising concert for you?
Surprising concert. Garth Brooks.
Okay. right.
Garth
What year?
Brooks,
What tour?
It was late '90s, so I don't know exactly what year, but we went because my girl at the time wanted to go, and I wasn't a big. I've never been a big country music fan. There's some country songs I really love. I just the that's just not my thing. I'm a rock and roll guy, and we went because she wanted to go, and I was blown away. He sold out the brand new 50,000 person arena in Spokane 7 days straight, and we were on day like 3, you know, and it was so amazing. Everybody was into it. Every song was good. Trisha Yearwood opened for him. That was before the whole scandal with him leaving his wife for her, and but it was really good. I was really surprised, you know, and it's now one of my best concert memories.
Dang, there you go. You never know. You never know, man. All right, and the final one is a would you rather round of questions, which I have a whole new bunch of them in there for you.
I can't wait.
First one is, would you rather the aliens that make first contact be robotic or organic? Organic.
Yes, because then there's
I agree.
There's some possibility of having some kind of
there's some commonalities there. Yeah.
Possibly.
If I feel like
depends if they're like mercury based or like what's the other thing? Not carbon based.
We don't know.
Silicon based.
Silicon based. Well, then would that be robotic?
I don't know.
They could be hydrogen based. You don't know.
Could be hydrogen based.
They could be based on elements that we don't even know exist yet.
Unknown elements.
There's so much.
So would they be?
There's so much about the universe where we don't know. We don't even know that we don't know it.
We don't even.
Yeah, the amount of stuff we do know is this big. The amount of stuff we don't know is this big.
We don't even know enough to understand
is the stuff that we don't know.
The amount that we don't know. We just don't know.
We don't know.
We don't even know what we don't know.
Right. We're going to write a song called We Don't Know What We Don't Know.
Right.
We don't even know what we don't know.
We don't even know what we don't know. We don't know what we don't know, and we don't even know what we do
and
know. We don't know what we we do know, what we don't know, what we do know.
If
there
you
we
did
go.
know what you think you did know, then you don't know.
There you go. All right, song written. All right, number two is would you rather, this is a new one, this is kind of funny. Would you rather be a reverse, so this is animal on top, human on bottom, centaur, or a reverse merman, merlady? So you'd be a fish on top or a horse on top?
That is awkward. Oh, no, thank you.
Yeah, the first one.
The first one.
Yeah.
So horse on top.
On top with man legs?
No.
Fish on top.
I'd rather be a centaur. You're talking about reverse centaur.
Yeah,
or
backwards
reverse,
centaur means a horse top and a man bottom.
Oh, that'd be like BoJack Horseman. Why not? He seems cool.
But you'd have horse hooves.
Yeah, so does he.
Okay.
Wait, I thought if you're a horse on top and a man on bottom, then you're...
Your top would be horse hooves,
the other one would
and then
be
you'd have legs.
The other one would be like
you have human feet.
Yeah, you'd have human legs.
So it'd be like Akbar from the Star Trek Star Wars episode. So
okay,
either one would be cool. And actually, I like water better, so I'll go with the fish.
The fish.
You
fish
want
head.
a fish face and a man feet.
Yes, that's my final answer.
All right. That's a new one for you guys out there in the chat room. So let me know which one you prefer. I don't know, man.
I think Akbar would kick BoJack Horseman's butt.
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, Admiral Akbar is
He's an admiral.
great.
He's an admiral.
Yeah,
he is there.
He didn't get to there by being nothing.
And like he's out of water. You know, you can be in water and out of water.
Yeah.
I mean, having the gills would be really cool. I think I'd go with the gills as well because I love the water.
Yeah.
So if I don't need to come up for air, then I can just get
I just think like throwing a horse man thing in the water, you would have a hard time with that.
You'd have a hard time in general.
I mean, I don't know.
Top heavy. You'd just be falling over all the time.
It'd be
this
weird.
Does not behoove me.
It'd be weird. It doesn't behoove me. All right. Okay. Next one is: would you rather have the ability to transform into anything you've seen, or have the ability to professionally learn any skill just by seeing it?
That'd be cool to be able to transform into anything you've seen. You could become a bird. And you could fly.
The question is if you can transform back, but we didn't say that.
Oh, a one-way ticket.
If you retain the power, you've seen yourself,
There's a
so you
trick
can just go
question.
back to
As
that.
long as I look in a mirror first.
I'm just saying. These are open to interpretation.
There you go.
But if you've seen yourself, then you can transfer back to yourself.
Be careful what you wish for.
Well, you would have to get a photo, and then it's just you of the top half. You'd have to get the whole thing, otherwise you'd just be a top half floating around.
Look at yourself in the mirror pretty well.
Or
you
not,
just have to
or not
prepare for the
floating around.
circumstance. It's okay. Like we can get prepared.
I don't know. I think I would rather like have the ability to professionally learn any skill. But I think at some point it would just be like overwhelming.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And you'd still be trapped in this human body.
And you would. Well, I'm okay with that. But yeah. All right. Would
get used to it?
I guess. Only if you can transform back. I don't know.
Yes,
I don't know.
only if you transform
It'd be
back.
interesting to transform into a tool and then be like used as a tool. I don't know.
I
You know
want
what I
to be
mean?
a tool.
There
I want to
you
be a
go.
bird.
I mean, if you think about it, like
Now,
or a
I
Now,
dolphin, or
if your wife or partner was the other ability, you'd be a hell of a combination.
that's what I'm saying. So like they can be professionally a blacksmith, and then you turn into a
Anvil.
an anvil.
no.
Oh, Julie's not on board with this. See, this could just get really weird. All right,
Rabbit hole.
this could really go really weird. Okay, would you rather have a third eye or a third arm?
Any location.
Any location. Yeah.
I put it on a stalk on the top of my head, and I just turn it wherever I want to turn it. I have 360 vision.
I think having a third eye would be very confusing. Yeah, I think that would be really tough, especially if you had a third eye in the back of your head. How would you process that? Like having a backup camera all the time? So I got to go with a third arm. It seems like it would just be so useful.
Third arm is useful.
Yeah,
Where would it be?
I'd rather have a
I'll do
sh-
the left
I
arm,
mean,
right
think,
arm,
think
right in
about
the
that.
middle,
Wait,
you put it in
think
the middle.
about this
No.
carefully
So
because
if you wanted to play guitar and you had two left arms, man, you could do some cool stuff.
yeah, but think about if you had it any other
But
locations.
if
Eric
right,
Johnson would have
right at the
nothing on
top of
you.
your head,
Well, it's just-
backwards.
It would make your head heavy.
Yeah, it would make
It'd
your
be like
head
an
heavy.
elephant.
You could have it lower. You could have it on your feet. I don't know.
You know, if it was like halfway down on one side,
Halfway down your side.
If it was on your bum like a monkey's tail.
kind of coolly,
You
and
can balance really well.
you can balance nicely, like a tail. You kind of lean on one side and cruise through a crowd of people a lot easier. That's a weird question.
I'm going with the eye.
I would go with the arm, and I'd have it like directly under my other
Okay,
right arm, so
all
you
right.
could have two right arms.
Two right arms. All right. And would you rather be able to visit 100 years in the past or 100 years in the future?
Ooh, I would. Oh man. And can you come back?
Well, that's you have to say that and you can come back.
Yeah. Okay. So
Because it
I
would
can
suck.
come
Because
back-
one of the questions is, what would you die of if you were like
man.
born like 3,000 years ago? What would people think you died of?
Being a heretic.
Oh yes.
That's another
I would
question.
die of blasphemy.
Blasphemy.
I would be
Blasphemer.
a
Blasphemer.
But yes, okay. So going back in time 100 years, or going to the future 100 years.
Man. I would love to see what the human race could accomplish in 100 years.
So you go into the
I would go to
future,
I would hope to
whether
see
or
some good
not,
stuff. Yeah.
whether or not it's still there and
whether
breathable.
or not it's still there, right.
Okay.
And I would hope to have the ability to come back, because that way, if it's not
If it
habitable
sucks,
anymore,
you can always just go home. Yeah.
and then I'll come home and
try to change it. Try
I
to fix
guess I could be one of those crazies that tries to change everything and create awareness. You know,
Oh
and-
man.
Yes,
world is ending.
I
We
say
have
that
to
with
save the world.
I say that with the
Yeah.
most heartfelt crazy, because sometimes it takes a little bit of crazy to go against the grain and try to
Absolutely.
change opinions that are already highly looked on. You know, if you have a different opinion and yours is not the popular opinion, then sometimes it's really hard to get people to listen to you.
Yeah. Maybe if you've got that third arm by then.
I'll use my
How do you
third
think I
eye.
got this third arm? I was there for 15 seconds. And I grew a third arm. Listen to me.
All right. And the final one, we got two more on this, and then we're gonna take a short break.
All right.
Number one is underwhelming superpowers. All right. So which one would you rather have? Anything you draw become real, but be permanently terrible at drawing, or would you like to be able to fly, but you can only fly as fast as you can walk?
Oh, that's just annoying.
That's the question.
It's just annoying.
So I don't know which one. Which one?
That's funny. You only fly as fast as you can walk. That'd get really tedious.
Get really-
So being awful at drawing. I mean,
well,
Have you-
then
have you
everything
ever seen Better
would
Off
come.
Dead?
Yeah, well,
Yes.
His drawings all come to life.
They
That
come
would
to
be
life.
great, yeah.
But this is like
But
you're
yeah,
really bad at
I
it.
am
To
a
be
really
like
bad
stick
really
drawing,
people.
so
crappy
I
at
would,
it,
I
so-
would make some stuff that would hate me. You know,
Like, you try to draw a car and it rolls up on you on one wheel, like all dilapidated.
Or like the giraffe has a face on the side.
I would fly
it's
as
hideous.
fast as I can walk because I still think it'd be cool to fly, even if it was very slow.
All right, so he's choosing the slow flyer.
Yes,
Slow flight.
Slow flyer.
Slow flyer. All right, final question.
I can pretend to
Take it
swim as I'm
easy.
doing it.
Yeah, pretend to swim. People just be like, what the hell? All right, final question is Aerosmith or Guns N' Roses?
Aerosmith.
Aerosmith.
Ah, yeah, we got
Thank
some
you,
Aerosmith.
sir.
Woo!
Yeah.
We got some Aerosmith.
I
My
love
brother
Guns N'
from
Roses,
another
but
mother,
I'm a
finally.
long-time
All
Aerosmith
right,
fan.
all
And
right.
I like the first 2 albums, Guns N' Roses, and then they kind of dwindle off for me.
Aerosmith was cool
And,
before cool was a thing. Like,
And by the first 2 albums, Use Your Illusion Volume 1, because Volume 2 is just a lot of.
Yeah, Volume 2 was
There's a way
weird.
to get out of their contract
I
or
got
something.
first one, and I
Right.
just didn't. Yeah, no.
And then, but Aerosmith, man, they have a lot of great stuff. They have some stuff I don't really care for, also, but some overly commercialized stuff. But man, old stuff like Toys in the Attic and Big
So
Ten's record.
cool.
I mean, some of those songs are so great. They're blues. They're
go.
really
I
good
think Mama
rock and
Ken
blues.
is one of my favorite ones.
Mama Ken,
Yeah.
and Mama
Or
Ken is
Moving
also
Out.
redone
Yeah.
by Guns N' Roses.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, so we
I
got.
actually didn't know that until I heard the Guns N' Roses version. Went back
Oh, you
and
didn't?
listened. Yeah, and listened
Oh.
to.
I have all the Aerosmith albums. I had them first, but yeah.
Nice.
All right, everybody. So that concludes Gauntlet of Fire. You did pretty good.
All right.
You did pretty good. You only stumbled on one.
Which one I stumbled on?
The movie soundtrack. You
Oh,
finally
yeah. I
gave me
didn't
one.
stumble
You
on that
you
one.
got that
I
one
came up with that
eventually.
right away.
What was one? You did.
Heavy
no, I
metal.
think
You
you
didn't
did.
stumble
You
at
did
all.
pretty good.
Yeah.
We
All
just had
right.
a debate over eyes and arms.
Eyes and arms.
Yeah, Eyes and Arms.
Yeah, there you go. No, you were pretty good on that one. Probably the best that we've had so far. So there you go. You were the best I ever had.
That's because I'm very indecisive. So it makes it easy.
I always have a split decision.
That's a
like,
great question.
Yeah,
I like the arms,
a
but I
great
like
question.
the eyes. All right. So what we're gonna do is go to a quick break. Everybody in YouTube
Stay
land.
tuned.
This
Stick
is time to.
around. We're
Yeah,
gonna
it's
be right
time to
back.
go to the bathroom.
It's time to
Yeah.
go to the bathroom.
Go to the bathroom.
You're in a virtual world, so this is gonna be like
That's it.
1 second for you.
That's it.
Or 10 minutes.
Grab your snacks. Grab your drinks.
Oh no, they're here live. That's on the podcast.
And yes, so what we're gonna do is go back. Of course, everybody in podcast land, we're gonna be literally right back.
Right back.
Right back in 3, 2, 1, roll.
Show starts in 10 minutes. What is it?
Say,
What is it?
hey, white buttercup, popcorn and sweet cream butter, too hot popcorn. Mix it up, wrap it up, buttercup is born.
It's delicious.
So nutritious.
It's a taste delight.
It's so munchy,
Crisp and crunchy.
you'll enjoy each bite. Eat butter drenched buttercup, popcorn at its best.
Served in a king-size cup.
It beats all the rest.
Show starts in 9 minutes.
Here's a new taste treat. The corn dog. Plump, juicy wieners are dipped in a thick, golden Southern-style corn batter that seals in all their freshness and flavor. If you like hot dogs, you love corn dogs. Everybody does. Try a corn dog with your favorite beverage. At the refreshment corner now. Corn dogs.
Show starts in 8 minutes.
Today we're interviewing a stomach.
Hello there.
What is life like as a stomach?
Oh, boy, it was humdrum. I mean, until what's-his-name discovered Tony's Pizza.
Tony's Pizza.
Yeah, I was suffering from the pizza cravings until Tony's came along. Crispy crust and zesty sauces. Wow.
And so now, What's that?
Another pizza craving. Just thinking about Tony sets it off.
Oh, where are you going?
He's going to get a Tony's pizza, and I follow him anywhere.
Does your stomach send you pizza craving signals? Oh, Tony's, the Pizza Cravers Pizza. Available at the concession stand.
Show starts in 7 minutes.
It's refreshment time, folks.
Taste that beats the others cold. Pepsi pours it on. Taste that beats the others cold. Pepsi pours it on.
Yum, yum. It's a meal in itself. Our all-meat super dog. Enjoy one now.
Show starts in 6 minutes.
Men, there's a drive-in movie full of juicy people. Wow! It is a trap. Help! It's Pick. We've had it, men.
A pleasant aroma for you, but not for mosquitoes. Pick is easy to use. Light it and forget it. Pick's aroma keeps mosquitoes, gnats, and sandflies away. Pick is the best protection for barbecues, fishing and camping trips, or just relaxing in the yard.
So if you don't want our company ever anywhere, just light Pick and see what I mean? Bye.
Pick is on sale at the refreshment stand now. Show starts in 5 minutes.
A cup of whipped hot chocolate tastes great right now. Carnation's Cocoa Supreme, the delicious hot chocolate drink with the light, delicate flavor you like. Wouldn't a good hot cup taste good right now? Ask for a cup of whipped hot chocolate at our snack bar.
Show starts in 4 minutes. Yum, yum. It's time for a tasty and refreshing snack. We promise to satisfy your hunger, your thirst, your sweet tooth. So visit our refreshment center now. Let's go! Show starts in 3 minutes.
Popcorn. Candy. Ooh, hot dog. Popsicle. Oh boy, Ben and orange.
Show starts in 2 minutes.
Now listen, now listen, now listen. I'm the Dairy Queen, won't you come with me along the milkshake way? I've got lots of good surprises, fresh and yummy for you every day. There are malts and shakes and sundaes too, whenever you stop. And of course your very, very favorite, the cone with the curl on top.
You don't have to just dream about Dairy Queen. Your favorite Dairy Queen treat is a refreshing reality at your nearest Dairy Queen store.
Show starts in 1 minute.
For our patrons, men, women, boys, girls. Through the cooperation of leading business places, you may now have free admission to this theater. Ask for dividend tickets when you shop at Names of merchants who give dividend tickets are listed in the lobby of the theater and on circulars at the concession stand. Dividend tickets will be accepted on all standard box office priced films. So take a circular with you today and start saving dividend tickets tomorrow when you shop. See your next movie completely free.
And now, on with the show.
We're back, everybody. I hope that you guys got some snacks and some drinks, because I did.
Yeah.
And we didn't lose too many people, because we have an entire second half of this craziness that we call a podcast, SonicSphere Podcast, of all the spheres, the crazy whirly dig of fun. Really gig of fun? Really dig of fun. That's right. He's got some burr. I got some burr. Everybody's got some burr. Yeah, we've got a whole second half, and like I said, man, we are going to rock and roll. We're going to keep Forrest here because we like the guy. How about that? I like the guy.
Wouldn't want him to go anywhere.
We're going to keep him here for the second half. And the first thing that we always do is kind of give you a state of the music address. It's going to give you some updates on what's going on with live music right now, because I'm actually kind of surprised and not surprised at how many people don't think live music is happening at all.
It's happening everywhere.
So it's all over the place. So this kind of giving you some news and updates on everything that's going on with that, because there's some pretty big shows coming in 2021. I did want to talk real quick about the Genesis tour, which one of our listeners reminded me when I saw them, like, hey, you didn't do this. Which I love. Y'all keeping me straight out there.
That's right.
Yeah, I saw you, and you're like, hey,
don't tease me like that.
You did not talk about the Genesis tour. How dare you? So we're going to do that. Genesis tour, of course. This is the first one in, guess how many years?
30?
Not quite that long. Cut it in half.
Oh, that long.
Yeah, about 14 years. 14 years since the last time they've actually been in the U.S. and done a tour. 14 years. So they're going to be, it's called The Last Domino. Me thinks it might be The Last Domino. We'll see.
Yeah, everyone's tour is the last tour until the next tour.
All right, so basically
It's just marketing.
It's marketing.
It's
marketing, yeah. So they're going to kick it off.
That's why we don't announce our next show until our last show is done.
There you go. It is about marketing. It's also about, like, again, like something that might disappear. If you don't go, might disappear. Which, they're getting up there in age. So, I mean, I don't know.
We're 53 this week.
We are 53 this week. And, yeah, that's right. So we aren't old. We're just going through midlife crisis, which is glorious. It's okay. All right. So,
it's colder than quarter life crisis. I've been there.
That's right. All right. So, where is this kicking off? Chicago. It's a good place to kick it off. This is in November 15th.
Nice.
Yeah, so we're looking at pretty much late fall, winter. 14-date tour. It's going to go through, of course, the ones you would think it would all go through. Can anybody guess if it's coming to Georgia? This is a common
Probably
theme.
not. It seems like a lot of the groups lately are not coming to Georgia.
You are right. It is not coming to Georgia. All right. So what's the closest one? Charlotte. You can go up to Charlotte.
You
go
can always
see
go
them
up to Charlotte.
at the Spectrum
cool.
Center,
The
November
Convention Center.
20th.
I've been there.
Yeah.
Saw Zach Wild there.
Yep. We've done a couple shows up there. Getting ready to get back up there as well myself. Always good. Those people appreciate rock.
Yes.
Rock and roll, man, and metal, and they appreciate everything. It's pretty crazy. But
first Voltagehead show was in Virginia.
Virginia, yeah. Virginia,
First.
same thing. Lots of rockers out there. So on the tour, of course, this is Collins Banks Rutherford will be joined by longtime guitar and bass player Daryl Strumer and Nick Collins on drums. So it's the full original lineup. And the last tour, of course, was in 2007. Turn It On. And they reunited with their bandmates to make this happen for the last domino ? Which I question mark as well. There you go. So there you go. Basically, they had obviously postponed their tours until this year, but it does look like it is happening, and they basically did this YouTube series. So if you guys are on YouTube, you can go check it out. It's called The First Time Hearing. They offer live reactions to songs they're hearing for the first time, which I think is reactionary videos are very popular.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like those.
Yeah, I've seen those. It's fun.
Yeah.
Some of those are really funny.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah, so there you go. So they're doing that, so you can go check that out.
Painkiller is my favorite.
Yeah.
For first reactions, yeah.
Yeah. Or the kids,
Yeah,
have
seeing
never
Painkiller for
that
the
one's
first
pretty
time.
funny.
Yeah, that's my favorite one.
All right, so so far the Twins have resurfaced Phil Collins' 40-year-old classic. I can feel it
in the
air tonight. Yeah. So there you go. All right. So final question on this one is: how much do you think tickets are going for? Average.
Oh, I would say at least $100.
Go up.
Really? Average.
This is
okay.
the one for for Charlotte. If you were to go to Charlotte and go see them,
The first one.
your average.
Oh, the very first one.
It's
oh,
not.
no.
It's in the middle of the
Chicago's
tour,
first
but
one,
if you're going up to Charlotte, and you're gonna go see them, what's your average pay?
Well, how about 250?
Keep going.
Really?
Whoa.
So LB is saying nosebleed
Settle
500.
down.
You're actually close. It's
Whoa.
$462 a
Oh my
ticket. That's an
God.
Yeah, well,
average.
I'm not going.
All right, so that is
That's
not
ridiculous.
the highest.
Okay.
That's dumb.
What is the highest? London. You can go see them in London.
Really?
No, I can't.
This is in
1,500
dollars.
At least.
How much do you think is in London?
He said
I'd say
1,500.
1,500.
Not quite that high.
Really? Okay.
About 1050.
Not quite that high. So 888 is
For
the
the
average
average
cost. Yes, of this
I can
ticket.
fly to LA and back on that right now.
8K, not quite LB. That's
Wow.
I mean, maybe if you get
8K.
backstage passes, and I don't know.
Oh, I'm sure they go up that
yeah,
high.
I'm sure they could. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever. No.
Yep. All right. So there you go. I talked about the Genesis tour, so don't come after me. I did it. All right. Now moving on. Okay. Next one is Evanescence and Hailstorm. We gotta have some women rockers in here, and they
Hailstorm.
teamed up. This is going to be a
Nice.
late
I've seen both of them separately, so it'll be cool to see them
2021
together.
tour. Yeah. So I'm actually excited because for once they're coming to Georgia, so I get to
Nice.
talk
Somebody's
about this
coming
one.
to
Yeah,
Georgia.
somebody's coming to Georgia.
What is this?
So when are they coming to Georgia? This is going to be a winter thing. It's going to be
Okay.
December 2nd for you guys here in Atlanta at the Duluth, Georgia Infinite Energy Arena, which is pretty big. I actually saw Godsmack there.
me
I've
too.
seen Disturbed there.
I'll go with
Seen
you.
a couple
I
of
haven't
ones.
been to that one yet.
It's cool. It's big. I saw I didn't see Pumpkins.
Saw
Pumpkins was
Sugarloaf.
different, but yeah, it's big. At least there's lots of parking. All right.
That's good.
Yeah. All right. So so they're doing it. It's gonna be November, December. The track hits off November 5th in Portland, Oregon. They're gonna hit it
Nice.
off there. They're gonna
Nice.
wrap it up in Worcester, Massachusetts. Worcestershire, Massachusetts. And
sauce.
that's about. They're gonna do it. It's gonna be about a month of
Really?
tour, so it's gonna be pretty
Nice.
quick. Yeah. And both bands, of course, they wrote a bunch of stuff during this whole break, and they're getting ready to rock it out on that. The two bands have of course, been very friendly with each other. There's been a couple things we talked about this with Amy Lee, of course, guesting on Lizzie Hale's Raise Your Horns podcast. She's got her own podcast, by the way, if you guys want to go see it.
I just saw a duet with them on YouTube.
You just did a big duet. Phenomenal duet. So all of that's out. And there's also May 12th pre-sales open to Spotify listeners of both bands that will precede the general sale, this is kind of interesting how things are kind of...
That's a good idea.
It's a good idea. That's what I'm saying. So they're doing kind of a Spotify pre-sale. So bands out there, think about this. There's also, a lot of stuff with, obviously Bandcamp, a little bit more supportive. Spotify not as much, but... this is another sort of way to maybe get some of your true fans, big fans, to kind of get a jump on this. Nice. And the band has, of course, a special live stream set up this Thursday, May 13th. So, and this is for Evanescence. So nice. if you're an Evanescence fan, which I'm not, but I respect it, that you can go and see this live stream.
I was being more general about it, as I said. I love Hailstorm.
Yeah. Well, people like her.
I like them both.
People
there you go.
There you go.
I saw Evanescence with Chevelle several years ago, and
I love Chevelle.
Which, by the way, Chevelle's coming back too.
Yes.
We got lots of stuff.
They have a new album, their last album on their label, so they can get out of their really crappy label and
pretty much. I mean, that's what it is.
Hopefully start making some money.
Yep. So if you guys want to see that, it is, of course, the whole live stream concert as part of the Cooper Tires Driven to Perform competition. This is, of course, the Alice Cooper thing that we have talked about. It's Alice Cooper is going to host it, and South of Eden, the winner of Driven to Perform, which is his mini competition that he's done to find the next great garage band, essentially, will open for the show. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. Props to Alice Cooper for keeping original and keeping that and bringing it back up. So we've talked about that before. If you guys don't know what that is, listen to the last episode.
Yeah.
Where have you been? All right. I don't know. I've been here. All right. So that's all of that news on Evanescence and Hailstorm. Ooh. Yeah. So as I turn the page, I have the next one, which is Rise Against. They are doing their whole Nowhere Generation tour. It is coming summer of 2021. And Rise Against, of course, they put out an album recently, and so they're going to kind of tour on the back of that. And it's this kind of politically infused rock. They're kind of doing that, kind of the next Rage in some ways, like trying to.
I always loved their band name.
So they're kind of going that route. They're going to do a whole tour. Trek goes underway in June 30th, so that's coming up real soon. It's going to continue. It's going to be 17 dates because it's going to end. It's going to go through. It's going to start in New York and it's going to go all the way over to Salt Lake City.
Nice.
There you go. And there'll be of course, a special pre-sale that you can get. You have to go to the band's website. And there's a bunch of stuff with that, but of course, they are coming to Atlanta, August 6th. Guess where?
The Roxy, maybe?
Close, a little smaller. One of my favorite venues.
Tabernacle?
Really? Yeah, rocking the Tabernacle. There you go.
I love the Tabernacle.
That is an awesome place. All right, so the next one is, of course, Andrew WK. New music, new tour, new everything. Why not? All right, so he put out a single, Babylon, which dropped in February. He put out a new one called I'm in Heaven. So basically, both songs are set to appear on God is Partying. I mean, it's a great title. That's a great title. There you go. It's the latest album. Of course, will be out September 10th, and then he's going to do a tour behind that. So he is not coming to Georgia, though, but he is coming to Alabama. Of course, we're going to talk a little bit later about this, which is the Furnace Fest. So he's playing there, Furnace Fest, over in Birmingham, Alabama. Which, by the way, you want to talk about people that like rock and metal? Alabamans.
Really?
Alabamians. Is that how you say that?
We'll have to head
Alabamans?
over there and throw some Voltagehead at them.
You should, yeah. No, I love playing over there. So it's interesting. So go check it out. New songs out. Lots of synthy stuff. Very pounding beats. It's interesting. So go check it out. I don't know. I'm still half and half on it, so I'm still trying to debate on this one. But so he'll be playing at the Furnace Fest. There's a couple other dates, but that's the closest they're coming to us here in Georgia. All right, so Summerfest. You guys know where that is, right? That's a good old Milwaukee. Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Nice.
Yeah, 2021. They're rolling that thing out. It's going to be over 3 weekends in September.
Wow. That's a heck of a festival.
That is a heck of a festival. 3 weekends. Very eclectic group of lineup. They've officially announced this. Y'all
right.
can go. I am not reading all of these. Y'all can go find these things. But it's pretty crazy. So they've kind of finalized everything. It's one of 12 Summerfest stages in Milwaukee. Miley Cyrus is one of the headliners this year.
Hey, she's good.
Yeah. And she's going to be on the September 17th at the American Family Insurance Amphitheater. Could come up with a better name. But then also on this, of course, is
Sponsors, you know.
Rise Against is going to be on the Queensryche coming back. There's also Queensryche, yeah.
Really?
Blackberry Smoke.
Well, kind of Queensryche.
REO Speedwagon. Night Ranger.
Right.
Buck Cherry. Filter.
Buck Cherry's coming here.
Buck Cherry, Living Color and Filter.
All right.
Yep. You also have Joan Jett and the Blackhearts.
Nice.
George Thorogood and the Destroyers. There you go. Goo Goo Dolls. Lindsey Sterling. 311.
311, really?
Yeah. ZZ Top.
They got a new singer?
311.
All right.
311, yeah. So, again, kind of eclectic, kind of a wide range. It's a big festival.
People love
though.
music. You know,
Wide festival, yeah.
These festivals that are have a lot of variety are doing really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So you guys can check out everything. It is a large lineup. And finally, we have Furnace Fest 2021 is here. As far as their final lineup is here. And they've added basically 4 different bands to stack the lineup. And this is, guess what? Basically, let's see. They had a couple nominations. And so it's 3 days of concerts. It's going to have Kill, Switch, Engage, Converge, Thursday, Under Oath, Taking Back Sunday, Andrew WK, Evergreen Terrace, Scary Kids, Scaring Kids,
August Burns Red, I heard.
Hot Water Music, Fit for a King. There's Face to Face. There's Darkest Hour. Lots more.
All of that.
All of those things.
All the Scene Kids.
All the things. And I'm trying to find. So the final 4 pieces to basically make this a total of things is complete. 90 bands. 90 bands. You can go see this. 90 bands. 30 of them playing per day. So y'all don't think music is happening. This is happening.
So for this particular place, you need to be in about 10 places at once to see all the bands.
Yeah,
So
it'd be
there's
hard
plenty
to
of
see
bands
all that.
playing.
Yeah, it's a lot. So it is coming back, and they never thought they'd actually kind of bring it back by 2021, but here we are. They're bringing it back. So there you go. We're gonna move on to.
So you're not talking about Blue Ridge Rock Festival?
Do you want to talk about Blue Ridge Rock Festival?
They're one of the big concerts we had last year that we had tickets for that me and Laura had tickets for that they got canceled. And it's a 3-day festival. It's now a 4-day festival with camping. Kill Switch Engage is gonna be on that one.
I was gonna say we actually almost played that twice.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Megadeth's gonna be on that one.
Yep,
A bunch of really cool bands.
So it is happening.
It's happening so far. I mean, they're going forward with it as far as I know. And we're definitely gonna go check that one out.
Rock on.
Yeah, Kill Switch Engage's bass player did the artwork for the Voltagehead album.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Mike.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's when you open it up, it's right?
For all
of it. Yeah, he did all the
so
artwork.
If you guys see that
And,
again,
I'm gonna get
so yeah, he if you open that up, you'll have there's an 8-page booklet.
there's a
in there.
bunch. Yeah, I was gonna say
It's
that,
like-
and we
did it
talked about this.
Yeah,
this
we
is
did it
classic.
like a real album.
I'm gonna open it
you
here
know,
on
do
the
it
on
with
this.
album artwork and
I'm gonna
you know,
I'm gonna listen
it's
to it
got
on the way home.
lyrics, it's got the bio for the band, it's got you know
So-
a lot of really cool stuff. We wanted to just give you more than just
Yes.
your music and a CD to put it on. A real memory and a reason to purchase
awesome.
the album, not just listen to it online.
So you got all of this.
You know, you buy it online for $10. For a few dollars more, you get all the artwork.
You've got the classic book with
all that.
lyrics on it.
Actual lyrics.
So, just like how you would do...
Just like how it should be.
How it should be.
Just like how it should be.
A very cool disc design.
Yeah, shout outs to Tom Tapley for doing the engineering on it, and Andy Bendette for the mastering. You know, we had a star team behind us. That's why the album sounds so good.
And then we'll get it signed. Very cool. So there you go. So yeah, very cool. See, it's all about connections, about networking, talking to people.
And Tom's also doing my solo acoustic album.
Nice. And when is? Do we have a date on that? Did I ask you about that?
No,
okay. I think we were like kind of still not sure last time. Okay.
It's it'll be done when it's finished. It'll be released.
It'll be done when it's done. Jesus, woman.
I would like to hope it can be done this year, and earlier is better. So we'll see.
There you go. There you go. All right, Julie, let's do your part, and let's first go to school. Old school rock and roll. Let's do. All right, Julie, what do we got? Remember, guys, this is trivia time. You get virtual points for this. Make sure you guys are awake and answering.
Maybe you need some coffee with your beers. Then if you need to be awake, I don't know.
So I mentioned something earlier about a little teaser for some of the Voltagehead fans and Forest Violette music fans out there. So we are opening for a national act middle of June. And if you follow our page, we're gonna drop some breadcrumbs along the way and make a full announcement.
I love breadcrumbs.
Yeah,
cool.
About a week or so. Let you guys all know who it is.
Check it out.
We'll drop some hints along the way. I've actually already dropped a hint tonight.
Yes.
And,
check it out. By the way,
so you may have to rewatch this and see if you can catch my hint.
I might do some clips for you guys.
So check us out on Facebook and
check that stuff out.
Instagram and all those cool places. But Facebook is our biggest presence.
Exciting, man.
Check it all out. And of course, all those links are down below. So no excuses. No excuses. No. All right, Julie, what we got?
We get to start back in 1655 this week.
Ooh, we going way back.
We're gonna go way back for school because this was the birth date of the Florentine harpsichord maker. His name was Bartolomeo Cristofori. He was born this week. And we don't, obviously, but this far back in history, have a lot of exact dates when things were invented. But he is the inventor of the piano.
Like what we know.
The modern piano.
As the piano.
The modern piano.
Most of like Beethoven and Bach works were actually written on harpsichord.
Because the harpsichord was the predecessor to the piano, and it was not satisfying Cristofori's ideas of what an instrument could do. And so he was an inventor and a musician. He decided he was going to press this until he could figure out, to make the device that could make the sounds he was hearing in his head. He was really unsatisfied by the lack of control the musicians had over volume and levels on the harpsichord. And he's credited for switching out the plucking mechanism with a hammer instead to create the piano. We guess around the year 1700. Obviously, we weren't mailing patents into the Smithsonian during this time, so we don't really know exactly when he did it. But around 1700, the pianos made a presence. And so here's a trivia question for you guys, and this is more of a world history trivia question, but it all feeds in.
I suck at history.
So Cristofori was working for a very prominent family in Italy, and this was the Renaissance, and they financed a lot of his work.
I might actually know this.
So what family do you think this was that helped him on his inventing and musical adventures?
So they
was it a musical family?
I think it's a hit. No, I think they
were his patrons.
They patronaged
they were
a lot
patrons
of
the arts during this time.
Yeah,
I think
they had plenty of money.
I think it was Mozart.
No,
it's not.
So this is like a family surname that we're looking for. Yeah, I think I know who it is actually.
Okay.
But I'm going to be quiet. We'll see if anybody else knows it.
Right.
So anyway, in the very beginning, the instrument was named, this is Italian, my pronunciation is probably going to be bad because I know French, I don't know Italian, the clavissimo con piano del forte, which literally translates into a harpsichord that can play soft and loud noises. Because the harpsichord didn't have the dynamics that Cristofori was wanting. And so it's shortened now to what we call the piano. His great success in designing the instruments was, of course, the hammers that I was talking about. that would strike the string but not remain in contact with it. So to let it reverberate, right? Because that would dampen the sound if it didn't and stop the reverberation from making any sound. And so it means that after striking the string, the hammer had to fall or rebound from the strings. Or the hammer had to return to its rest position without bouncing violently and making a bunch of racket inside the instrument, because that would be extra, right? And it had to return to a position that was ready to play almost immediately after, because how often do you strike the same note? Think about being like Chuck Berry or something. I don't know, in modern days. And so Cristofori's early instruments were made with really thin strings, and they were a lot more quiet, much more quiet than the modern piano, but they were a lot louder and with more sustain than the harpsichord that they knew at the time. Than the clavichord.
Strings is
yes.
what I'm assuming.
Yeah. Well, and that hammer action was key.
And that too, yeah.
The only previous keyboard instrument capable of dynamic nuances or responding to the player's touch or the velocity in which the keys were pressed was the clavichord, and he expounded upon it like just immensely. While it allowed the expressive control of volume and sustain, it was still very quiet. And the harpsichord produced a sufficiently loud sound, especially with a coupler, which would join the key in the manuals into a two-manual harpsichord, but it offered no dynamic or expressive control over each note. So you struck it, that was it. You had no control. You couldn't dampen it or anything like that, and you couldn't stop it. But the piano offered the best of both worlds, or both instruments, which combined the ability to play both loud and perform accents, hit and stop, which is why it was pretty revolutionary.
This didn't have the dampeners as sustain on it at the
yes,
time.
Yes, it did.
Oh,
and that's why it was revolutionary. It, like I said, it blended the best of both worlds.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
the classical pedals.
Yeah. So, do you know who financed his adventures?
So my guess was the Medici.
The Medicis, yes.
Medicis, yeah.
Who financed a lot of the Renaissance, actually. That family was ridiculously great for the Renaissance.
And they're in a lot of like historical dramas if you watch them on TV. There's an entire one on Netflix.
He was employed by listen to this. He was employed by I can't even say their names now. The De Medicis family as the keeper of the instruments.
Yeah,
that was his job.
Nice.
The keeper of the instruments.
So by the way, Jim Fuller's on.
Wow.
What's up, Jim Fuller? Good
How
to
you
see
doing,
you, man. We are in the music history part, which you usually do pretty well. So let's see how we do.
Okay.
You might win me out. So far, I got the 1 point. Other than
you guys are tied.
Forrest has 1 point, and I have 1 point. So let's see. Let's see.
It's on now.
So we're gonna fast forward about 240 years and pause on 1886. Because Chichester Bell and a gentleman by the name of Charles S. Tainter patented the gramophone. And that was a trivia question earlier.
Yeah,
I asked you guys, what's the difference between a phonograph and a gramophone? Or what was the difference between the early two? Because they did get kind of blended together as they went on.
They did, yeah. I think. All right, so I'm going to leave that to you guys here for a little bit. Are we answering that? We don't have any...
I think a phonograph made direct contact with the spinning media. A gramophone had the spring-loaded arm.
It had more to do with the medium.
Oh, okay.
Should I give it away or should I wait?
I'm assuming it. See, gramophone. Yeah. See, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah. So shoot. Let's. We don't have any answers yet. So what is the difference?
Do you want me to wait?
Yeah, go for it, man. Because so far we don't have anybody yet. So I think what is the difference?
Saying like, hold on.
Go ahead and say it.
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, so the main difference between a phonograph and a graphophone, at least at first, was that the graphophone used wax.
Oh, okay.
As the recording medium rather than tin foil.
Oh.
Which was not as successful. And the recording was cut or chiseled into the wax rather than being embossed, so it was more permanent. Which made a big difference. In fact, the graphophone deposited with the Smithsonian, which I gave you the link, which you can post like later in this week.
So so Thursday we'll post some
links.
Nice.
So they have an early copy of this at the Smithsonian. You can take a little tour of the apparatus there. Appears actually to have been an Edison phonograph, which was a copy because Edison did not do it first, as we're about to talk about. So you can actually credit Bell Laboratories for making the first one, and Edison tried to hop on He did not do it first.
Edison didn't do everything first.
No, he did not.
Well,
So those are about to talk.
There's a lot of stuff he didn't do first. It's okay.
So Alexander Graham Bell and his cousin Chichester Bell and his assistant, which is a gentleman by the name of Charles Tainter, which I just mentioned.
Tinkerbell?
Charles S. Tainter.
Tainter.
Or Tainter. You could say Tainter or Tainter. Anyway, they delayed several years, and they did finally file for some patents, which were granted in 1886 this year, which is why we're talking about it right here in May. By this time, they had developed a replaceable recording medium consisting of a cardboard tube with a thick coating of wax, which made for a more permanent recording. And so that's what they tried to patent with Smithsonian. They sent a copy of their invention for the Smithsonian to save.
And it didn't melt.
Cool.
No.
Didn't melt.
It didn't melt. They must have sent it before it got too hot.
So Jim had guessed that much difference, but the gramophone used cylinders instead of the flat disc, is what he said.
So that's we're going to come later. So the gramophone used wax cylinders, whereas the gramophone used tin, which was not as good of a medium. It was less permanent. It was more volatile. You can usually only get one recording, and then it was done. You couldn't copy it; it would be trashed after that.
So does Jim get a point? Do we consider that a point? Not yet. Not yet. All right.
Sorry, Jim.
Sorry, Jim. Close. Close is only good in horseshoes and hand grenades.
So both the graphophone and the phonograph were being marketed by 1890 really as office dictation machines. So like if you were going to record a meeting or like some proceedings or something like that, you would leave this machine running while this was all happening, and you have a record of whatever took place in your office that day. Neither was really generating much money, though, but local distributors discovered a more lucrative way to use the machines as public amusements.
Wow.
And so coin-operated record players soon became a thing in common public spaces like hotel lobbies or restaurants and stuff like that, where there would be a machine where you could put a coin in and listen to whatever was placed on the machine, like whatever cylinder they had, or cylinders if you got a chance to choose.
Right.
So in response, it was Thomas Edison that continued to make improvements on the phonograph.
Yeah.
And began working towards an inexpensive home record player and went into the business of making records.
Yep.
While as Bell, Tainter, and company kind of faded from view, but later inventors approved upon the graphophone, which is where Emil Berliner comes into place. So he took the idea of using wax as that medium and pressing it into a flat disc, which is why we have records. And so it was Edison's, I guess, prototype that was not very effective because you couldn't really copy it, whereas the Bell Laboratories prototype was preservable and kind of gave way to like our modern records that we have now.
Which gave way to tapes
and CDs.
Yeah, well, it gave way to modern records first. So there was a lot of problems with compatibility in at first. In the early 1880s and 1900s, phonographs and graphophone records, they weren't interchangeable. So people kind of tried to like jerry-rig.
Wait. Are you saying this is like iPhones and...
Yeah. It was like iPhone and
wait
Android.
a minute.
8 tracks and cassettes aren't
Wait,
compatible.
we'll be back there again.
Yeah.
Wait, I'm just checking. Okay, all right.
So both companies introduced variations on the basic technology, like longer playing cylinders or larger diameter cylinders that might fit both machines to make some money off of it. Your charger doesn't fit, so we made a universal one.
Taping the hole on the tape so you can record over.
So that must be where player pianos got their idea, because player
and
pianos
then
were
and then making new prototypes that could not be
pianos.
played on older machines to make more money.
Yeah.
Also,
All about
new
the
inventors were springing up to try and cash in, so there was a lot of bootlegs out there already. Some built their players according to the phonograph or graphophone standards, but others did not. And so there's all this going on out there.
All the shenanigans.
standard.
Yeah, and so the early cylinders had two, major problems. The first was the short length of the cylinders, about 2 minutes.
I was gonna say, I mean, it's just a cylinder. I mean, there's not.
You can only rotate so many times we get to the bottom, right?
Yeah.
So this necessarily narrowed the field of what could actually be recorded. The second problem was that no mass method of duplicating cylinders existed at first.
Right.
Most often, performers had to repeat their performances when recording in order to amass a quantity of cylinders, which was exhausting. This is not only time-consuming, but it was expensive.
No copy
because you
and
had
paste.
to pay them; they weren't going to do it for free.
No copy and paste.
Yeah.
Dude, that's great. I'll play that same thing 1,000 more times. We got money.
And
to
don't
make.
quit. You're on the clock. Yeah. So Edison's process for mass-producing duplicate wax cylinders was put into effect in 1901. So this is where he did kind of come in with an original idea. He did have the first one, though. Sorry, Mr. Edison. The cylinders were molded rather than engraved by a stylus, and they used a much harder wax instead. And the process was referred to as a gold mold. Because of a gold vapor given off by gold electrodes used in the process, so that they use a harder copy that could actually be reproduced again instead of a soft copy that like was volatile and you really couldn't. If you tried to copy, you would destroy it.
Always go for the hard, not the soft.
Yeah, exactly. So they used a mold that could be pressed a second time instead of a soft one that was more volatile. So submasters were created from the gold master, and the cylinders were made from these molds. From a single mold, 120 to 150 before you actually ended up destroying it because it wasn't.
You only have a limited number of molds to make after this thing. Though.
120 to 150, which is better than one. It came from this. Could be produced every day. The new wax used was black in color, and the cylinders were initially called New High-Speed Hard Wax Molded Records until the name was changed to Gold Molded. By like 1904, and the savings in mass duplication was reflected in the price of cylinders, which had been lowered to like 35 cents each. So it was affordable to the common person by this point.
There was still quite a bit back then.
Yeah. And by the way, Jim said he found a old cylinder, but couldn't be played. My dad actually has old cylinders and a gramophone.
That'd be cool.
It's really kind of creepy because of just how it sounds. It's
it's
just
very
we're not used to. Yeah.
So Bell Laboratories, though, actually went on to form Columbia. Which took ideas from Emil Berliner, and they did the first flat discs. So Columbia was just founded by Bell, abandoned the cylinder in 1912. Columbia had given up its own cylinders in 1909 until 1912 was only releasing cylinders which had already acquired, so it wasn't making new ones. And they started pressing records at that point.
Ooh. Records 1912 though. I mean, you don't think like 1912. Yeah, it's crazy.
And so like that was the cylinder to record overtake, which was actually by Bell Laboratories, not Edison. So pretty cool.
Dang. Gave us records and the telephone.
Yeah.
And they're still around today. Bell is the same Bell company. Yeah, so the Bell telephone, Bell South, still around.
Yeah. Now you have all your records on your telephone.
Yeah, to have all your records on your telephone. That's it. Awesome. All right. What else we got? Is that it?
So, no, it's not it.
Okay, keep going. I don't know. I'm just enjoying the chat right now. It's pretty ridiculous right now, just so y'all know. I'm actually not going to repeat some of the things that are going on in the chat right now.
Probably shouldn't, because we'll get put in a different category.
It's pretty ridiculous. If you guys are in the chat right now, you can participate. It's pretty ridiculous. I did say that, so go check it out. We're in high school right now.
Oh Lord, at least we're not in middle school.
I know. We are totally in middle school. Talking about.
Yeah, it's all of our friends.
So, anyway.
We don't have an adult friend.
Anyway. 1911. 1911, Robert Johnson was born.
Really?
This week. And so, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that gets said about Robert Johnson. Obviously, there's a lot of things that we do know about him. We know that he basically founded the 27 Club, right? We know we only have 29 of his original recordings, and they changed a lot of blues and rock and roll for the better. For history, but there's a lot of things about the guy that we don't really know, right? So I was going to go through some of that because there's a lot of things about him that we do know. So here's a trivia question, though. So the legend surrounding Robert Johnson, obviously, is that he sold his soul at the crossroads outside of...
was it Memphis?
No, Mississippi.
One of those M words.
Outside Clarksdale. And that's how he got really good at guitar, right?
Yep.
So that's the legend. Does anybody know the truth behind it? Does anybody want to try and take a stab at that before I tell you?
So you're asking what is the all right? So y'all.
So basically, a lot of people said that before this happened, Robert Johnson actually sucked at guitar.
Okay.
He wasn't even that great.
So like, what made him?
And then he came back kicking ass. So
okay.
And he let the story happen. That he sold his soul to the devil. That's why he could play so good.
I mean, that good PR is bad PR is good PR, right?
There's no such thing as bad publicity. He knew that. He was smart. He knew that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
So he let people say.
Practiced. He got tired of people telling him he sucked.
Forrest is saying he just
went,
practiced.
He went away for 2 months and said, "I got to learn how to do this, or I'm going to feel like an idiot every time."
I feel like he lost a finger and then had to learn how to play in a different way.
He died with all his fingers and toes.
Okay. All right. Well, that would have been my guess.
He didn't lose anything like that.
That would have been my guess.
He wasn't in an accident or something.
Okay.
So you're getting pretty warm, but you're not
took
quite
lessons.
there.
He probably went and took lessons, or had someone teach him.
Yeah.
And maybe that guy was a real
Yeah,
jerk,
yeah.
and so he came up with the story of selling his soul.
Maybe
to the devil.
he learned she shanties on the she shore.
In a she shed.
In a she shed.
She sheds didn't exist back then. They were.
They did.
Oh yes, they did.
They were she
yes,
shanties.
I was gonna say they did. We just didn't call them that. You didn't know they existed. They existed.
No, that's true.
Yes, they did.
They've always existed.
They've existed.
So anyway, we're gonna talk about that and some other stuff that people don't really understand about Robert Johnson. So something cool about him is he didn't really know his surname until he was a teenager.
Oh.
He was born Robert Leroy, in Hazelhurst, Mississippi, on or around May 8th, 1911. We're not really sure.
Hazelhurst?
Hazelhurst, Mississippi. Yep.
Well, there's a Hazelhurst, Georgia.
Yep.
That's where my lovely husband's from.
His life was already atypical. His mother, Julia Dodds, had birthed 10 children ahead of him, all with her sharecropper husband, Charles Dodds. But Robert was born out of wedlock, fathered by a plantation worker that he did not know at the time. So head of
state, head of things, head of beers. Thank you. All right.
Am I the secretary of the beer?
Secretary of the beer.
So ahead of Robert's birth, the father of the family, Charles, was forced to relocate to Memphis and change his name because he was being chased out of town by some prominent white landowners. He went against them and he had to flee.
That will happen.
So in his absence, his mother had an affair with another man. When he was just 3 or 4.
In her she shed.
Yeah, in her she shed. When Robert Johnson was just 3 or 4, he joined Julia Dodds, which is now called Julia Spencer, in Tennessee, with his stepfather. And that's kind of when his world opened up. He attended school and discovered popular music. His older brother taught him to play the guitar, and after a few years, he returned to the Mississippi Delta from Arkansas, and he joined his mother and her new husband, Dusty Willis. So by this time, he's had 3 surnames, and none of them were his. But Johnson had already been bitten by the music bug, and he was much more interested, in doing that than working in the fields and making money sharecropping.
I would be too. But
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, it's brutal out there. By the way, a lot of people know a lot about this this artist. So when we get to Stopping Point, I'm going to talk about what they're saying.
Nice.
So go in the chat room. Like I said, man, we've got a lively debate right now about it.
right.
So
You can go and fire it up if you want to.
yeah. So we've got a couple, of course, unique way of playing and singing. Delta, kind of the master and the inventor of the blues, Delta blues, what we call the Delta blues, and later on, and LB says later on, he teamed up with Ralph
Yeah, he did.
Macchino from Karate Kid, and eventually,
Macchio.
Macchio, thank you. Went on to later best Steve Vai on the guitar.
That wasn't a movie. That wasn't
was a
really a
movie.
thing. Yeah,
Was it not a thing? It's a thing.
And that wasn't actually Steve Vai who played that that big riff. It was Roy Coder.
There you go. See. By the way, I had a beer.
Reich,
I had a
sorry,
beer with
Reich
Steve
over
Vai up in the Rainbow Lounge, and
Steve Vai's a very nice man.
yeah, that was pretty crazy.
I
I didn't
love Steve
realize
Vai.
I didn't realize who it was until he started talking to me excessively, and I was like, "Oh, it's Steve Vai." Love you, Steve Vai.
I think I would notice him in a second.
Yeah, I
love
know.
his stuff.
But I wasn't really paying. I was like over here talking to other people, and he was just like kind of talking, and I'm just like, "Who are you talking to?" I don't know. It was interesting. It was fun. That was fun. Rainbow Bar, man.
Yeah, I would go see Steve Vai before seeing Yngwie every day.
Oh man.
Sorry.
Oh well, there you go, Steve Vai. All right. Well, Yinge, if you're listening to my podcast, if you happen to be listening
out
to
there,
my
man.
podcast, I still love you.
Voltagehead would love to open for you.
There you go. Exactly.
We'd open for Ingwe too, though.
Yeah, either one. All right.
So it wasn't until a lot later that he learned of his actual parentage. His father was a man named Noah Johnson. So he took his actual surname at this point and became known as Robert Johnson as he became an older teenager. And he was pretty good at the mouth harp or the harmonica, but he wanted to play guitar. But by all accounts, he wasn't really very good. In fact, he kind of sucked, even though he loved it. One of the earliest accounts of Johnson, a musician, comes from Son House, actually, who first encountered the young artist around 1930 in Robbinsville, Mississippi. And House recalled that Johnson blew a harmonica and was pretty good with that, but when he wanted to play guitar, Johnson's guitar skills, according to House, were less than stellar. In fact, the young musician referred to his attempts as such a racket you'd never heard. Get that guitar away from that boy, people would say. He's running people crazy with it.
People said the same thing about Michael J. Fox.
Yeah. So this is
Which there's a debate about that whole thing right now, by the way, about whether he actually got that tone in the movie or not. Like that tone should not have been there for that era.
Right.
But yet they use these modern tone things on it. It's a whole thing. I didn't even want to bring that. It's
a lot of reverb.
It's a lot of
So
things.
anyway, to go on with
fingers.
Robert's story, a couple months shy of his 18th birthday, Robert married 14-year-old Virginia Travis. And they lied on their marriage certificates, saying that he was 18 and she was 16, which would make that marriage legal in Mississippi. They were both not legal, but they wanted to get married anyway. He was already a working musician at this point, probably making more money playing harmonica than the guitar because they said he sucked at this time. But he decided to go back to farming to support his young family. And they farmed with one of Robert's sisters and her husband, his brother-in-law, in Bolivar County, Mississippi. And about a year later, Virginia was pregnant. So close to the time that she was, due to give birth, she went to stay with her parents near Penton, Mississippi, to have the baby in her family's care, basically. And so here's something crazy. So Virginia's death certificate states that she died in childbirth on April 10, 1930. However, the Bolivar County census states that she was alive and well on April 11th, residing with her husband in Bolivar, Mississippi, which means that they had no idea of her death because you didn't have to be present to be counted in a census. Someone just said, oh yeah, this is her address, she lives here.
Yeah, pretty much.
She's away, but she lives here. And they did not know that she had passed away in childbirth. And so it's reported that Robert had already left for Penton at that time so he could be present for the birth of their first baby. But he took the opportunity to do a little bit of guitar playing and make some money on the way while traveling up Highway 1 to get there to Penton for the birth of his baby. But the baby was born early. He didn't know this. And when he got there, he found his wife had died in childbirth and the child was also dead. And the family blamed her death on him because he was out playing the devil's music.
The devil's music.
And so after this time, he kind of believed himself to be like a cursed man, right? He actually tried to marry a second time in 1933 to a lady called Coletta Craft, who also died in childbirth in 1933. And so he had two attempts, to marry and have a family, and both times it resulted in this awful, tragic thing. And so at this point, I think he just
devil's music.
spiraled out of control with grief and just, believing that, I guess his life was cursed. He couldn't have these things, So he never married again, but he formed some long-term relationships with women, which he would kind of return to periodically, and this and that. So here we circle back to the question, though. So he returned being so good at something that he kind of sucked at, right? So now about the story of Robert selling his soul to the devil. We all know the Crossroads story, right? And we all know that Robert wasn't exactly God's gift to guitar playing before the death of his first wife. People said he was pretty awful at it, actually. So he disappeared after Virginia's death, obviously. He was in mourning, He returned a year later, sounding amazing. And it was kind of puzzling because he sucked pretty bad before this. So Robert, believed himself by this time to be a cursed man, and whether he invented the Crossroads story or other people kind of did, and he just to explain and didn't really refute it. He let it happen around him. So here's what really happened, and you were really close to this.
You got in the inside scoop.
All great musicians need someone to look up to, right? I need someone to look up to. I have lots of people I look up to. Well, Robert looked up to a man named Ike Zimmerman. He lived in Robert's hometown of Hazelhurst, where he was born, and he met this man after he reconnected with his biological father. He was a great guitar player. He was great with the slide, and he was known in all the venues and the bars around as a great guitar player, and Robert wanted to learn to play like him. And so after Virginia died, he went back and he sought Ike out.
Surround yourself with people that are better than you.
Absolutely.
Because he wanted to learn guitar from him.
Yeah.
So I kind of had this funny habit. In order not to disturb his family, his neighbors and stuff, he would go practice guitar in the cemetery at night. Because I guess, they don't care. They can't hear. They don't care how loud you are. They're already dead, right?
Yeah.
And so when Robert came to see him, the two of them would go to the graveyard at night and they would just play guitar all night. So that's kind of creepy, right?
Yeah.
Two guys playing.
But, it is. It's sometimes there's certain, if they're above ground, there's certain acoustic stuff that happens there.
Yeah.
Well, they just wanted a
it's
place
only
to practice
creepy
that people wouldn't get
because
mad at them for being loud at night.
It's only creepy because of the preconceptions of our weird way we look at death.
Yeah.
We see
of
death
course,
as,
because
as
they just need a quiet place to practice.
Yeah, exactly.
But you've got these two dudes in their 20s sitting on gravestones playing guitar late at night in the early 1930s all night.
Yeah.
Probably drinking and smoking, and
drinking and smoking.
Yeah.
And they're hanging out in a graveyard, and
So
probably
yeah,
kind of just added to
lessons. That was my answer.
it probably just added to the very ethereal air around stories about him.
Yeah, and then yeah, exactly. So it got inspired,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also assume that if having a major loss like that really affects you emotionally. Guitar is a very emotional instrument, and so if he had this reason now to almost cry through his guitar, and he had someone to show him how to do it,
and he did. And Ike Zimmerman was that teacher for him.
Then he all Ike was a vessel to show him how to take what was inside of him and
get it
create
out.
it through an external source.
Yeah.
There you go.
And so he took about a year off after his first wife's death and came back to the music circuit later. And so the story goes that he asked he went back to Sun House and asked to join him at a set outside Clarksville, Mississippi, at some bar they were at, and kind of out of pity, Sun House said, yeah, sure, man, if you want to play or whatever. And after that, everybody's jaw in the place just dropped. Like, who is this
boy?
boy?
The way to do it, man.
How did he play like this? It's not the same boy.
That's awesome.
And they lost their minds over him, and he was great. He was a sensation after that. But he did spiral out of control. He basically just used his music skills to woo women. And he went on for a life of drinking and traveling and womanizing.
That never happened.
And it says that he took on at least 8 different surnames, depending on what town he was in and what sugar mama he had in that town, and he just, that was the life that he lived. He was hurt after the losses he experienced, I think, and he just this was the only way he knew how to go forward. So he probably broke a lot of hearts.
Heartbreaker.
He does have one documented descendant, a son from one of his love affairs. He may have others. Wow. Yeah, you can see documentaries on him. He talks about his father, Robert. He remembers him. He remembers his biological grandfather not caring for him, and so Robert would try to pay child support, and his father would chase him off. Not thinking of him as an honorable man, you know what I mean? And get away from my daughter, get away from the boy.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
Yeah. Before they were rock stars, he was a rock star.
He was a rock star before the rock stars even existed.
Yep. Well, at some point though, you got to get to a certain age, too. Either.
I have not reached that certain age, nor do I plan to.
So his music had a super influential following during his life and into the 2 decades after his death. Obviously he died at 27, and John Hammond actually sought him out for a concert at Carnegie Hall, not knowing he had already died.
Oh.
He was sent down south to look for him, and not knowing that he had already passed.
Oh.
Brunswick Records, which owned the original recordings, was bought by Columbia, where Hammond was employed. The musicologist Alan Lomax, which also discovered, Muddy Waters, went to Mississippi in 1941, not knowing that Johnson had already died. So for a few years, they did not know that he had already died.
Well, I mean, back then,
the information didn't travel like it does today.
But his recordings that he did make went on to inspire a lot of guys, obviously. And so the recordings we have of him, he participated in only 2 recording sessions. One was in San Antonio in 1936, another in Dallas in 1937, that produced 29 very distinct recordings with 13 surviving alternate takes of those original 29. And they were recorded by the famous producer Don Law, and they recorded at very low fidelity, and in a very improvised studio space, all of them, and they were totally all of his recorded output. There was no processing, there was no nothing. Obviously, it was the 30s, right? So the recordings are very raw. But they went on to inspire a slew of guys. I mean, think about, the album those recordings becoming super influential to all the British blues coming up, like Eric Clapton. Bob Dylan worshipped it, so did Keith Richards, so did Robert Plant. Robert Plant cites a lot of his vocal inspirations really come from Robert Johnson. And guitar licks as well. Keith Richards, worships the man still, he says.
Oh.
So, that's the legacy that he left.
All right.
Yeah.
They say that he mysteriously died in Greenwood in August of 1938. But his death certificate didn't really list a cause.
Right.
But we're told that it was he was poisoned.
Oh.
Because he was given some poisoned whiskey.
I also think you have that many women in the closet.
So he was given some poisoned whiskey.
One of them finds out about another one.
He was given some poisonous whiskey by a jealous man. He was talking to the wrong man's wife.
Our man, yeah.
He was talking to the wrong man's wife. He was given this poisoned whiskey, and he died at a plantation he was carried to some hours later from the poison.
Man.
Okay, a rough life.
Yeah.
Live
like
hard and fast.
Seems like some of the most influential people did.
Yeah, hard and fast and died young. Kind of the first of the 27 club, right? Is what it was.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. He was 27 when he died of that poison.
There you go.
Weird.
Man.
So talking about influential people, it was also speaking in 1937 that Dig Dale was born.
Dig Dale.
So he wasn't born in California, even though we think of him as a California boy. He was actually born in Boston. But he moved with his family to Orange County, California when he was 16 years old. Which he immediately fell in love with surfing. But actually, surfing wasn't his first love. Music was. His father was a Lebanese man, and his mom was Polish. And as a kid, he was exposed to a lot of folk music from both cultures, and had a super big impact on his sense of melody and the ways that string instruments could be picked. You remember Dick Dale was a very percussive player, right? And he also, obviously being a kid in the 40s and stuff, heard a lot of big band swing music, and he his first musical hero was a drummer, Gene Krupa, who later wound up influencing his percussive nature and his approach to the guitar,
which we didn't really get with Mike Preamble. I was going to talk about the most influential jazz drummers and how he basically Krupa was the one that came up with the names for most of the symbols, I believe, that we know today as like the splash or the whatever.
Oh, really?
And also came up with a specific way of that became, and I'm not going to repeat it because I'm probably going to screw it up, and everybody's going to be like, somebody that's not a drummer trying to explain what drummers do. So I'm not even going to try that. But so big deal. One of the earliest ones, actually, Gene Krupa was one of the very first ones to sort of reinvent drumming.
He did. And so Dick Dale was a drummer first, actually, before he became a guitar player. And he just thought that he was God's gift to music. He loved Gene Krupa. He thought he was just the coolest thing. He just wanted to be just like him.
Yep, and he was a big band guy, but went off to really, like I said, do some kind of define drums as an instrument, like develop certain hardware and what became what we know as a modern set. Very interesting.
So here's a trivia question before we move on. because we want to do that.
Yep. Let's do that.
So, Dick Dale, I told you, moved out to Southern Cali with his family in the 50s when he was a teenager, and he developed a special relationship with a music technology developer there in Southern California at that time. Who was that?
What was the year?
Who was this person? About 1957.
57.
Technology developer.
Technology
Music.
developer. So something within music and technology.
In Southern California.
In Southern
New
California.
development, new instruments, new amplification systems.
In this, was it Les Paul?
Not quite, because remember, Dick Dale did not play a Gibson.
That's right.
I'll give you a huge hint there.
Well, it's not Leo Fender.
Gibson?
Yes, it was.
Leo Fender?
Leo Fender.
It was Leo Fender.
Okay.
Leo Fender. Okay.
It was absolutely Leo Fender.
Okay.
So talking about Gene Krupa, like he
That's actually the first thing that popped in my head.
Yeah.
It's funny how you don't. I didn't go with
You
my
knew
first
it. You
intuition.
knew it.
Yeah.
You almost had the point.
Yeah.
Almost had the point.
Just be more assertive about it.
I'm not gonna give you that one.
So he loved Gene Krupa's playing, and he became a very super percussive guitar player. And he moved out to California with his family in '54. So at the suggestion of a country DJ out there in California, he changed his name from Richard Mansour to Dick Dale. And he began performing local talent
Probably a good
shows.
idea.
I mean,
Yeah.
all I say is a name change.
Yeah.
I mean, Dick Dale's very American, right?
And it's just sometimes it's all it takes, Is
And he
it's
had
when
a very
Bruno
budding
Mars.
interest, and
It's a great
he had
example of
a
that.
very budding interest in the rockabilly thing. It was the 50s. He was a Southern surfer kid in California. And he recorded a demo song called Ooey Marie for the local Delphi label. Which was later released as a single on his. So his father took an interest and founded a new label called Deltone, which became Dick Dale's record label. And they distribute it just locally. They're in Southern Cali. And during the late 50s, he also became an avid surfer, too, which is why he became known as the king of the surf guitar. So you had, like, all these, like, the Beach Boys and stuff. Like, they said they surfed, they didn't. Dick Dale was actually a ripper. Like, you can see videos of him surfing. He was great. And they were badasses back then because they didn't use a leash. And they didn't surf with epoxy boards. These things were heavy. They would bash in there.
It was
and messed up.
like a slice of
your board
tree.
could kill you
Yeah.
back then.
It was
They could
literally a
flip
slice
on
of
and just-
tree.
Yeah.
And that thing would be gone.
And then you'd have to go get it because you'd have money for another one because you didn't have $100 to buy another board. You had to go find that thing.
Or you had to spend like X
Yeah.
number of like months or years
working
making
and
one.
cutting so much grass to buy another board. Like, no. Yeah, it was not an easy life to be a surfer in Southern Cali at that time because the waves were, waves in Cali are big. I've always surfed the leash there. I can't imagine surfing on a longboard with no leash.
And
It was made of
they were
wood.
different size too.
Yeah.
And they didn't glide as much because
And they were
we had
heavy.
all this stuff, yeah.
And so, he's a strong, brave kid. You have to realize that too, like being a surfer that time in the 50s in California too.
Sharks.
Yeah.
Sharks, yeah.
I'm not scared of sharks. But
Just don't wear a seal-colored wetsuit and you'll be fine.
mine's like red and gray.
So we have
Red.
Mark, of course, giving us a little tidbit of knowledge here. We got Dee Dee's last drummer before he died was Dusty Watson, which was the best drummer, the best surf sounding drummer. Go.
Nice.
All right, nice.
And so obviously he fell in love with the ocean, and he kind of thought about those tones for his guitar,
Yeah,
and
those
he really
wavy
developed a very
tones.
distinctive instrumental sound, and he found a super enthusiastic, ready-made audience among Southern Cali kids. And he started booking shows and everything after he kind of diverged from country music, and started booking gigs at the Rendezvous Ballroom there in Southern Cali. They had a strict dress code, though, I'm told. And so they wanted to be a fancy establishment. They wanted to be like a coat and tie place, and he knew that his friends weren't going to do that.
Hawaiian
and so
shirts.
he asked his dad to order a box of black ties from JCPenney or something. And so they ordered a bulk of 100 ties, and his friends walk in hey, thanks for coming, put this on. Hey, thanks for coming, put this on. And they'll have these cheap satin ties around their t-shirts or whatever. So they have a black tie at this affair. It's pretty funny. And he would go in there and shred every night. He had this super percussive style. He was an upside down lefty player. So he played a Strat, and so the pickups were angled the opposite way, which made him very loud.
Yeah.
And he played heavy gauge strings. He became a wildly popular attraction and drawed, 1,000 fans into his performances. He released "Let's Go" in '61, which is generally acknowledged to be like the very first recorded like surf instrumental. He played a ton of instrumentals.
Okay. Yeah.
So "Let's Go Drippin'" was also a huge hit and even charted nationally. He released, lots of singles and stuff by this point. And "Miserly" was another one, which was actually inspired by that Middle Eastern sound. Remember, his dad was Lebanese. So you had like all these, musical influences going on.
We got Delphonics. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's crazy.
He had this old battle-worn Stratocaster that he called the Beast. It was outfitted to be played super loud. It had really thick strings. So like 16, 18, and 20 gauge on wound strings, and then 39, 49, 60 for wound strings. So like really big like bass strings on his guitar.
Baritones.
Yeah. But he played it tuned standard. So he didn't really break strings. He just kind of like burned through them.
Yeah. And
Picks,
fingers.
Picks too, and fingers or picks or yeah.
And so that Strat actually didn't have any tone control. It's just like a master volume and a toggle that bypassed the three-way switch. Which would, go to neck middle pickup only.
Yeah.
So he had a big search for more volume, and so this is when he developed a relationship with Leo Fender. He was in and out of his shop there in Southern Cali all the time. And was talking to Leo about his shows and stuff like that, and was telling him that like 10-watt amps just wouldn't do it. He kept on blowing them up.
Yep.
and like Leo was like, okay, like I'll try to help you, like I'll fix your amp or whatever. And he would come back and like, my amp's broke, Mr. Fender. And he'd be like, what are you talking about? Your amp's broke? Like I just fixed it. And finally he was like, you know what? I'm gonna have to come see like you're blowing these amps up every weekend. I'm just gonna come to one of your shows and figure out what it is that you're doing. And like he came to see him play, and he was like, oh. You're trying to put so much power through this.
Oh.
So after he kept on blowing them up, Fender decided to remedy the problem. He was going to create the first 85-watt transformer that he had ever made.
I mean, that's
to accommodate this kid that kept on blowing up amps, because like I just Leo Fender was like such like this great-natured guy. Like I imagine him like is this older person who just like saw the inventive youth and
cheeky. I don't know why he has a British accent, but it's like
You're burning
so
out all
like
these 30
he
watts
sees as this young musician, trying to push the limits and thinking like he doesn't have what he needs. I've got to figure out how to get him equipped for his mission. You know what I mean? And that was just he was an inventor.
Those are
He's a
the
tinker.
kind of the best inventors
Yeah.
in the world. See a
Tinkers.
need, fill a need.
Yeah, tinkers. My grandpa was
Yeah.
that way. He's like, that's just not working in the kitchen. And like in the middle of dinner, just go out to his workshop and start tinkering on it for like 3 hours and come back. And it's like this weird, strange contraption, which worked, but it was like, we're already done with dinner.
Thanks,
but couldn't help it. Couldn't help tinkering.
So Leo Fender saw Dick Dale blowing up these amps. Like he's like literally, I think I've read he literally blew up about 40 to 45 amps.
My kind of guy.
Brought in like
My
all these
kinda
amps into
guy.
his shop, and then like so he went
I've
to see
only
him
blown up
play,
2
and
ever.
so to fix the problem,
blown up 3.
Leo created the first 85-watt
Got me on that
transformer,
one.
Got you on that.
which would peak at 100 watts.
100 watts. One of them blew up on stage and
Yeah.
actually caught fire and was flames coming out
Yeah.
the back
I
of it.
always wanted to do that.
And I just kept playing, and I was like, something smells weird. And I'm just playing and playing and playing. The tube had
How
caught
come I
on like
can't
a
hear
whole
myself?
half thing. So fortunately, it was a solid, like a hybrid. So it had a solid state in the tube. Well, the
Yeah.
tubes are what blew up.
Yeah,
But the solid
lean
state
channel.
was still good. So I was playing out of the solid state for the rest of the show because we had no other amps. But the thing caught on fire. They had to come and do, they had to spray it out.
That's awesome.
And then the whole place smelled like that horrible ozone
Smoke and
smell.
fire
Yeah,
extinguisher.
for like the rest
Smoke
of the
and
night.
carbon dioxide.
That's how you rock a show, man.
Oh yeah.
I did the same thing at practice to an amp right over there. I burned up my Marshall one of the first Marshalls I had. I burned it up right there. Yes,
Well,
I did.
this basement is known for burning amps up. I think about
There's smoke
6
pouring out of the grill. And I'm like, there's something
have
burning.
come from around.
And I look over, oh, hell. That's not what I said.
Found
I
it.
used the other word that we're not supposed to use. But
Oh, Mark says Dick Dale came through the Earl down here in Atlanta
Oh, really?
a few years ago. I did not.
he
know
did
that,
before
man.
his death, yes.
Wow. Yeah, missed that one too.
So anyway,
yeah,
in his search for more
played that show, I
volume,
think.
Really?
Yeah, he was talking about that.
yeah, in his search for more volume, Dale and Leo Fender like formed a relationship. You know, this teenager and this businessman, Leo Fender, started working together because he recognized him as somebody who was a pioneer of music, and he was the person who was equipped to make the equipment that he needed for this mission. And so he was there for it. I would have loved to meet Leo Fender. I'm sure he was a great guy. But he found that the 10-watt amps just weren't going to cut it after he blew all of them up.
10 watts.
You know, and so like that's what that 80-watt transformer came into position, like I said, and they continued to work together on upping the ante after this, and building speaker cabinets that could house two 15-inch speakers instead of just one, for the sustain that he was looking for. And of course that needed bigger transformers, so they teamed up with the Triad company and designed a 100-watt version that peaked at 180 watts instead. So that's when the dual Showman was born, and that was the first dual amp that Fender made, was because of Dick Dale, because he was just going to blow it up if it wasn't dual.
I mean, yeah.
And that kind of changed the game at that point.
Now you're two speakers.
And so, in addition to his amp innovations, Dick Dale was actually one of the first people to use reverb. Remember, he was a surfer. He was looking for the sounds that he heard out in the ocean, that washed out sound. So first, he kind of implemented it into his arsenal to enhance his voice, but when performing live, to add vibrato to his guitar. So he eventually plugged his Strat into the reverb tank and found that it offered like a wetter sound with more sustain. So he was the first person to do this, actually. We owe him a lot. We always talk about like that wet, dry sounding guitar. Dick Dale figured this stuff out.
Nice.
And he was just blowing stuff up and plugging stuff in where it didn't go, and blowing things up, and then going to Mr. Fender and be like, I broke it. Can you help me?
I didn't die.
Oh, those old,
but it's
Fender
broken.
Twin reverbs. Those old Fender Twin reverbs are like some of the best amps you can buy.
Yep.
And now we know
so
why.
from that point on, reverb became synonymous with surf music.
Yeah.
And even at one point, Guitar Player even named Dick Dale as the progenitor of metal. With his super breakneck speed and his electric stage presence and the surf genre that he pushed, he inspired Eddie Van Halen, obviously. And you can hear that like on like Walk Don't Run and Romeo Delight and Top Jimmy and all those like Van Halen tracks. He was just hugely so ahead of his time. Yeah.
There you go.
Anyway.
There you go.
We need people
For
like that.
sure.
We need people who are ahead of their time.
Yeah.
Now.
Yep, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're talking about it. I mean, it's kind of like it's going out and finding this and seeking this, and you know, they're out there. They're out there. I think they're out there. I think we're as we've talked about this with a couple guests, which is like coming to the end of sort of what's going on with the pandemic and what's going on with social justice and what's going on with the political spheres of things that are happening. And I feel like, and then also the tech, like what is that future that is moving tech so quickly that at some point there's going to be this revolution that's going to happen. I think we're gonna see it.
Well, I think there's with especially with the social media we have on YouTube and the ability for anyone to put a product out there and anyone to find an audience, it makes it real hard for someone who doesn't know how to work those platforms to find an audience.
Yeah.
So you almost have to be a musician as well as a social media expert.
And marketing and
marketing.
Booking,
we were just talking about this at the break.
We were just talking about this,
marketing and promotions and you either have to do it all yourself, which is really difficult, or you gotta create a team of people around you where everyone's a specialist.
Yep. Most people are doing it alone too.
Yeah.
And that's hard, but it's possible. In some ways, it also levels the playing field. So yeah. So we're going. All right. Are we good? You still rocking?
Yeah.
They got more?
Well, yeah.
Oh. Okay.
that was only 1911.
Oh my goodness, Julie. We're at 11 o'clock, man. We got to wrap it up.
All right. Well, we'll fast forward then. Pretty quick.
Yeah, we got to wrap it up because I still got to do my last few, and then we're gonna wrap it up because we're at 11.
So anyway, to brush over it really super quick. So 1957 was the Alan Freed show. We talked about Alan Freed before.
Mm-hmm.
He was the man that coined the term rock and roll. So a trivia question I had was like, why is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame placed in Cincinnati?
I used to know this.
Yeah.
I think we talked about it, or I looked it up at one point. So, so the question is, why is the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame located in Cincinnati? Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway,
see if
like
anybody knows
you know,
that.
America in the 50s was a pretty bland scene. Obviously, there was a lot of big band music on the radio, and Frank Sinatra and Kroners and stuff like that. Blah 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 blah. I'm fast forwarding. There was other things happening though. During all of this, there was other music being made, and there was a DJ by the name of Alan Freed, out there in Ohio, who wanted to spin some of this stuff. And he was super adamant about not playing white covers of black music. He was very adamant about playing original music. Working at a station called WJW and using the on-air nickname Moondog. In 1951, Freed was playing a mixture of rhythm and blues and R&B music, performed and listened to by mostly African Americans. That was not widely played on other mainstream radio, but he was playing it on mainstream there in his radio station. And it was music that would soon become known as rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
A name that Freed would later be credited with advancing, if not inventing himself. Because he coined the term. So the broadcast business was in a lot of ups and downs at this point. And to fast forward a lot, Freed, through his DJ experience, wanted to found his own TV show because TV was the next thing to do after radio. It was like a graduation at this point.
I feel like it still is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it still is.
So he started the Big Beat, as an American music and dance TV program, on ABC, this week in 1957. It was hosted by himself, Alan Freed, and it debuted this week, before American Bandstand. So it was the original rock and roll TV program.
Nice.
Yeah.
So the fourth episode caused a lot of problems when the artist Frankie Lyman, which was a black teenage star, started dancing with a white girl on the show. So it got pulled.
Those kids.
And that got Alan Freed his label of a rebel, which kind of like sank his career later. A few episodes ago, I talked about the payola problems and DJs taking money.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that.
And this was kind of why he got slapped with that. But anyway, to brush over this super quickly, that is why also he was out of that radio station was out of Cincinnati, and so that's why the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is in Cincinnati, is because of Alan Freed and his legacy, actually.
Well, that's
for American rock and roll.
Being a rebel.
That's right.
Yeah.
Rebelling it out, rock and roll.
Rock
and
roll breaks all
and the
rules.
notes you can see, and in the notes, I gave you a couple of episodes of the Alan Freed show.
Yep. Okay.
You can see you can see Chuck Berry's show there, and also the Lyman show too. That got him kicked off the air.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool. And we don't have any guesses yet on the trivia, other than it's because of he was there at the time. Is that the answer? Is that the answer?
It's because of Alan Freed that's in Cincinnati.
That he is in Cincinnati. Yeah. He was based in Cincinnati.
Sense.
So there you go. All right. Alan Freed.
Has nothing to do with WKRP?
No. But I will say, again, Cincinnati, Ohio has some great metal. So go check that out. Great metal. Keeping it all rebellious. That's what it's about.
So it was this week in 1974 that Zeppelin launched its Swan Song label. So here's a trivia question. Obviously, the dude with the wings, who is that?
The dude with the wings.
On the Led Zeppelin guy. Like who's that depicting?
The baby?
It's the archangel.
No, not the baby.
The guy, the Zeppelin, the guy with the wing.
Angel Man.
It's
Oh, come on. You gotta get the point. You gotta get the point. I know you can get this point.
It's not Michelangelo.
No, it's not Michelangelo.
No, I know. Damn it, I know this. It's in the movie Dogma. It's the.
Come on, go on. You get the
point. So anyway, while you're guessing, so this week they launched a label to gain some independence and some artistic freedom from their other labels.
Gabriel.
No.
It's not Gabriel.
No, it's not.
Ooh.
And so they used this as a vehicle to promote its own products, as well as they wanted to sign some other up-and-coming artists, some British artists. So they also produced Bad Company, The Pretty Things, Dave Edmunds, Maggie Bell, Sad Cafe, The Detectives. They did some other things. Probably Bad Company is the biggest success from Swan Song, obviously. It, dissolved after John Bonham's death, obviously. But we have the latter half of Led Zeppelin's career and Bad Company, basically, to thank for Swan Song, thankfully. So that saying about not flying too close to the sun.
Yeah.
Icarus.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, did I get the point?
That's what they got that from.
Icarus, no, that was too easy. I won't take that one. That was too easy. Give me a big hand on that one.
I'm going fast because I know we got
Cleveland, Ohio. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is in Cleveland, Ohio. Is what I've got.
I'll gloss over this story super fast. I mean, it was this week in '94 that Pearl Jam actually tried to take on Ticketmaster.
Oh yeah,
I remember that.
Do you remember that? Yeah,
I do remember that.
Well, they're still fighting them, man. I feel like
they were trying to set the limit as only $1.80 for service charges on tickets.
Yeah.
For $18 tickets.
They did. They did make them state the fee on the ticket price though, which they weren't doing before.
That was the accomplishment of the entire ordeal. Is if you're going to upcharge, tell people what the upcharge is.
Yeah, tell people that the venue's getting $870 on top of your $15.
Because we want you to know that we're not the dickhead charging you $5 million to come to the show. It's them.
Right.
Yeah.
Clarification.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm still charging you $22 for a $15 ticket, but I'm going to tell you why.
Oh yeah, but then you're still you're gonna pay it. I mean, yep.
In a lot of ways, though, it was really in a lot of ways though, it was really for naught.
Yeah.
They were eventually, forced to book parts of their next tour with Ticketmaster because they had to do business. And they kept getting larger and joined with with Live Nation in 2010 and everything, but they still have to state the service charges. So
they have to state them. So that's the thing. Do. By the way, we got.
And if anything, they've gotten worse.
Casey Higgins is on.
Hey, Casey, how you doing, man?
Hell yeah, man! I love playing with Casey. You're awesome.
So, very last thing, I promise you guys about the
hopefully everybody who's on has already subscribed to
this.
That's right. If not, get on there and hit the subscribe button.
Can I hire you for marketing?
The marketing.
I'm a
So, very last thing, I promise you guys about Felix Mendelssohn's last song, Missing Song, right?
What was that?
The Missing Song?
The Missing Mendelssohn Song.
Oh.
So, it was this week in 2014 that it was uncovered. 29 bars of music were uncovered, and made a lot of classical music fans super happy. And this was in 2014.
Wow.
And so you can view this. I gave you a link to hear the performance of a modern rendition of the score because it was a score that was discovered in 2014.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say,
in America in an attic.
Okay.
So the song was dated as being composed and written in 1842. When Mendelssohn was like 33.
What a cool attic find.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He didn't have an intention of publishing it or making it go public in any way. It was performed privately, and the manuscript was sold at auction twice. The last time it was sold was in 1872.
Wow, and then sat in.
And after that, kind of just disappeared. So people knew about it, and some people knew that it was around, but they assumed that the manuscript was lost, which it pretty much was. But the manuscript was recovered in 2014, this year.
As I always say, look in your attics.
Yeah.
Lost only means you don't know where it is.
Look in your attics.
Doesn't mean it's gone.
So the family has been very proud about this discovery. So all we know is it was discovered in the U.S. on papers belonging to a current owner's grandfather, a musician and a Mendelssohn fan. So the family had probably been associated with Mendelssohn, a long time ago.
Probably. And then probably passed it down.
And the manuscript went on to the auction block. If you'd like to guess the amount that it went for.
What was it sold on?
An auction block.
Which one though? What was the? Do you know?
Like a private local auction.
Private local auction. $15 million.
Ooh, $15 million. I'm gonna go with
$42,000.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna say 42 grand.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. You can give me. Just gonna get that
exactly
point,
what I was
man.
gonna say.
That's exactly what I was about to say. It's coming right there.
But if you want to hear the modern rendition of the score, since it became public, you can check the link.
Cool. I will do that.
Cool, man.
It's pretty.
So this will, by the way, be dropped on the Thursday episode, which is the edited podcast edition.
The song is called "The Heart of a Man Is Like a Mine."
Like a mime?
Mine.
Mine.
M-I-N-E. The heart of a man is like a mine.
Like a mine?
Like a
Like one that you
landmine.
dig, like a landmine.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Not like a silent mime.
Yeah.
No, that was a mime.
Mime.
Mine. Like one that you dig in. The
All
heart of a
right,
man
just
is like
checking. Okay.
Oh, not like a mine that blows up, like a mine that you dig in. Oh. You have to really dig deep to get something.
You have to dig deep, I guess. Yeah, you have to get and then you have to refine it, and then you got to work it, and then you got to.
We're complicated.
It's very complicated.
Anyway, check out the links if you want to hear Mendelssohn's Lost Song. It's actually a very haunting and beautiful melody, and I do suggest that if you love music, you should hear it.
There you go.
So, there
very
you go.
cool.
Absolutely.
Cool. Awesome. And like I said, all these links, we're going to start putting some of these really cool links about these stories into our comments and when they are put on the Thursdays. So when the episode comes back on Thursday, make sure you come check it out. And
you'll be able to see the links of the pianos from Cristofori. You'll be able to see the links of the Gramophone. You'll be able to see the links of the artwork for Led Zeppelin. And
all the craziness. Yeah.
As well as this lost work from Mendelssohn and some other things. So check out the links.
Yeah, check out the links. We're going to start doing some links for you guys out there. None of you got virtual points. That's okay.
Well, actually, you and Forrest did really great tonight. So
none of you got virtual points, but that's okay. We will keep doing this, of course, every week, so you guys have a chance to get some virtual points. All right, so we're gonna wrap this up pretty quick. I'm gonna go through the last two little sections, which is to tell you about stuff that maybe you missed this week. Maybe you didn't, because I feel like this story was everywhere, which was of course, the Whitesnake video star.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Tawny Kitaen.
Yeah. There's no reason for death stated yet, though people, of course, are speculating what it is. For you guys that don't know who this was basically the actress that showed up on Whitesnake's Here I Go Again music video. Right, and made many young boys happy and.
I watched a documentary recently about this whole thing with Coverdale, and the only reason she was there was she was Coverdale's girlfriend. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the hired model didn't show up, or couldn't make it, or wouldn't do it for some reason. Wouldn't, and so he's like, she's here, she's pretty, she's gonna do it. He didn't even give him a choice.
Yeah,
like she's gonna do the video.
She's gonna do it. Yeah.
And at that point in the career, Coverdale was Whitesnake. So what he said goes.
Well, went. Yep, exactly. And she also, so a little bit of a background real quick is she was very much into rock music in her early years. She also ended up going into acting. She did a minor appearance in 1983. If y'all know this, it was in the made-for-TV movie called...
Made-for-TV movie in what year?
1983.
Oh, jeez.
She did the role of Debbie Thompson in this. So the movie was called basically Malibu. Yeah. She was the bride-to-be of course, legendary actor Tom Hanks' character in The Bachelor Party.
Oh, that's right.
That. Yeah. As well as a couple other roles. So she did some acting here and there. She also appeared in Rat's self-titled EP, 1983, on the cover model of the self-entitled EP, as well as the cover of basically their 84 debut album as well. So yeah, so she
Out of the Cellar.
Yep, she did both. Out of the Cellar, yep. And she was dating at the time, what was the guitarist?
Oh God. D something D
Robin Crosby.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Robin Crosby. So a couple later, that's when she got into 1987, which was the Here I Go Again Whitesnake video. Yeah. So it was a little bit later. And of course, she danced on top of the cars, became famous from that. She also did, what other Whitesnake videos did she appear in? See if you guys know this.
What would be after Here I Go Again? So.
Yep, after Here I Go.
Still the Night.
Still the Night. Julie got a virtual point.
Okay, boom.
Still the Night. She was in that one.
More than
also, This Is Love.
This Is Love. Is This Love?
Is This Love? And another love song.
Here I Go Again?
Nope.
No, it's not really a love song.
Oh, LB got This Is Love. I'll give that one to you because we're a little delayed. This Is Love. And then what was the other love song? The blank blank love. What was the other one she appeared on? The Deeper Love.
The Deeper the Love, yeah.
Deeper the Love. Yeah. So she went...
that White Snake Freak.
She went on, of course, to marry David Coverdale. Yeah. 1989. Didn't last long. They divorced in 91. It really didn't last very long. And then she did a couple different roles in TV in the early 90s. She also did, of course, VH1 reality programs, The Surreal Life, 2006. So she did a couple things. She also did Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew. Yep. And then she married, of course, who later? It's a baseball guy. Who did she marry? Chuck Finley.
I'm not a sports king.
Chuck Finley. So she ended up marrying him from 97 to 2002. So there you go. So, so condolences go out, of course, to the family. And kind of, they're not really saying yet. So I'm sure we'll update you on what is happening. A lot of people are assuming certain things.
Everybody likes to assume things.
Yeah. So anyway, she was only 59. So not that. All right. So talking about early deaths, Kurt Cobain, of course, released. FBI recently put out the file pertaining to the surrounding his death. Yeah.
That'd be interesting to read.
Yeah. So it's about 10 pages, and it is now available to the public. So you can actually go and get this file itself. There's actually not a whole lot of redactions on it, which is interesting.
Bring some speculations. There's been a lot of a very specific conspiracy theory about that for a lot of years.
There has
we'll see if
been
there's any evidence towards that conspiracy theory in the unredacted documents.
Yeah, so that's why I thought it was kind of interesting. So FBI is officially releasing these after 1994. So now we're looking at that many years. And official government responses were issued to a pair of letters dated 2006, like September 2006, November 2006, expressing appreciation for the concern that this may not have been just a suicide. This might have been a homicide. So that's when they kind of were like, hey, this, look into this. Of course, they hadn't released them yet. They also claim that there are a lot of inconsistencies with the deaths surrounding Cobain's death, warranted further investigation. However, most of the time, if you guys want to do any sort of, when you want to look into a death, then usually that falls within a state authority. So. Yeah, so it's interesting.
So Washington would have to do something about it.
Well, yeah, so the state would have to do something. It's also local authorities would be involved as well. So it kind of falls a little bit into that. As
much history as Cobain has around Seattle, I'm sure that would happen if there's anything there.
Yeah. So basically, in order for the FBI to go into the investigation from a complaint, which I'm sure they've received plenty, there must be certain facts that indicate that there's a federal law that has been violated.
Right.
So within our investigative jurisdiction, so based on this is basically what they're saying. So in a response to people saying, hey, look into this a little bit more, their response is that this does not follow under our jurisdiction, the FBI, but they're still releasing. It's 10 pages. So y'all can go see this.
But they're saying, okay, well, here's the evidence we have. If someone local wants to look into this,
and then if a local
now you have the
authority,
now you have the ammo.
So, yeah, also present in the file is a tax from Cosgrove Mirror Productions. It's the documentary company behind the TV series Unsolved Mysteries. There is the communication between the company in Los Angeles and Washington, D.C. Notes inconsistencies in the official Cobain death investigation. Observed by private investigator Grant, who believes that Cobain's alleged suicide note was instead a retirement letter to fans, quote unquote.
Well, I don't know how I feel about that, but yeah, no.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
So
was doing pretty good for himself.
Yeah, interesting.
Other than the heroin and the alcohol.
You know, so they're basically saying you can essentially go see the whole file. And but they're saying that you know, for most people this may not actually hold any new answers to the ongoing mystery of whether this was a suicide or not. But also we remember we talked about the NFT that just recently sold, which is the last photo shoot that he ever did, sold as an NFT. And the newest news on that is that they are also selling a strand of hair for auction. Yeah.
One day my hair is going to worth that much.
Yeah.
For real.
There you go. Alrighty. So that completes
I wonder if it smells like Teen Spirit.
I'm sure it does.
Oh man. Maybe too soon. I don't know. Are we too soon?
Sorry.
Anyways, so that kind of wraps up a little bit. There were some other stories, but I feel like those were interesting enough. We're gonna end up, of course, at the bar, and we're gonna wrap this up because this has been an awesome night. I've enjoyed all of you guys have stayed with us. Actually,
thank you everyone.
Participated.
We got
thank you guys for having me.
You guys are
cool.
rocking.
Yeah.
I love it.
Voltagehead will definitely be back. I'll be back.
We'll be back.
We'll get you
And I'll have the boop button for these guys. The,
Yes.
The boop or the meow or I don't know.
It should be a bunch of random things. You don't even know.
The bomb.
Everybody who puts a suggestion in should get one. It'd just be a random generator.
Put a suggestion in there because I'm gonna make it happen for these guys. Goodness gracious. All right. So we're at the Friendly Neighborhood Bar. This is where we're gonna always end up, I feel, in the end, some way. This is where your geekdom, your alcoholic binges, and what's left of pop culture all end up at the Friendly Neighborhood Bar. And my update for you guys is Rammstein is not getting, they're German, not getting their Lego set.
Oh my god.
I know, man. I was actually super excited about it. It was massive.
Well, du hast.
Yeah. There you go. Boop. I'm gonna have to bleep that out. Now I gotta put a cat in front of that. Jesus.
A big
All
cat
right.
face.
Just the tail. Just the hooked tail.
Just the butt, you know. All right. So yeah, they're not getting their stage, their Lego stage. Now why? Okay. So the band went out and said, "Hey, I want this to happen. Go vote." So you can go vote on a couple. We've talked about this. Yeah, you can go vote on a couple of these different sets from these bands. Lego basically revealed that the fans submitted with the band backing it, it's a full stage proposal. It's huge. Will not be moving forward. Why? When submitting creations based on intellectual properties, it's imperative that members follow the guidelines for intellectual properties we have, including listing whether or not a submission is based on such, if that is the case, blah, blah, blah. All right, the Lego Ideas team said basically in a statement that even though they had gotten to 10,000 votes, that was the mark they were supposed to get at, they're not going to do it. They've removed it from the running.
Really?
That's not right.
Yep.
Somebody doesn't like Rammstein.
Somebody doesn't like Rammstein. That's it. So that's gone. Sorry, guys. But we still have My Chemical Romance you can go vote on and a couple others that have Lego sets. So go check it out. All right. And we have talked the last time about, of course, booze and alcohol. All right. We got to talk about all that. All right. Rag and Rock. Rag and Rock is the newest thing that has come out from, of course, my fellow rockers, Gwar. Ragnarok or Ragnarok? Ragnarok Ale. Ragnarok Rye. So this was a signature whiskey we talked about last time that they were coming out with. Cool. Super 92 proof rye whiskey, post-stilled and then aged in charred white oak. There's a whole thing. have to actually read this because, of course, Guar does not fucking do this. I just did the F-bomb. That was the F-bomb. But at the very end, all right. So I have to read this. I have to read this. All right, now this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Okay. All right. So just announced a new signature whiskey. It sounds it. All right, so this is the process that they go through to craft this dumb thing. Okay, it's great. Not dumb, but Jesus. All right.
Ridiculous thing.
So water is harvested from the great caldera of pure Antarctic water left by a comet's impact.
Absolutely.
And fused with Guar's intoxicating blood in a collaboration with
some BS.
Kitaen Creek Distilling Company.
And some malarkey.
Such a powerful spirit, a delicious sacrament to drink in preparation for battle. And it'll get you
Vanquish
ready.
your
It'll get you
enemies.
really, really crazy.
Because I love to get totally drunk before I pick up a bladed item and try to hurt somebody with it. That's not myself.
Yeah. So there you go. Okay, so what is the update? They've actually given us a date for when this is coming out. Of course, $99. It's yours. Almost $199. Quote unquote, and we have to say is provided you're of legal drinking age.
$99 of liquor on the wall. $99 of liquor.
Yep,
You gotta pay
exactly.
that guy $5.
Yeah. So when is it coming out? May 28th. That's the update. May 28th, which is soon. You can get your hands on this. Limited signature whiskey called Rag and Rock Rye.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Last bit is the Iron Maiden Hellcat.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So talking about cats, all the meowing, all the meowing stuff. They are known for kind of putting out different brews.
Yeah.
This is the newest one in the line. This one is, of course, going to be called a Hellcat Indian Pale Ale. So it's going to be this fall. It's going to come out. They're partnering with a BrewDog, which is a little global craft brewer. There you go. The official date has not been announced, so of course we'll update you when we know. Iron Maiden, like BrewDog, have maintained their spirit of independence. Throughout their stellar career. Hellcat is a hop-forward lager with a heavy, lazy, hazy appearance and crisp finish. It's an epic beer worthy of this massive collaboration. So there you go, guys. That's a direct statement, and it is at a feisty 6% ABV. Oh, man, come on. Iron Maiden, make something that's like 10. All right, anyways, but 6%, that's what they're saying. Citrus-forward flavor, aggressive, malty backbone. So, there you go. Interestingly enough, they want to put in here that it is carbon negative.
Carbon negative.
Yep.
Not even neutral.
So they remove double the CO2 it takes to make.
Cool.
Wonder how that's possible.
Yeah.
That's possible.
That's
so there you go.
cool.
So I want to kind of add that. So they got a little bit of modern twist to it. They are carbon negative, not neutral, but negative. And it's going to be brewed and made exclusively for people here in the U.S. It's not going to go anywhere else. And you can purchase the beer through the BrewDog website. There is going to be, of course, select brewers, distillers, retailers, etc., that are going to be able to have it throughout the country. But Hellcats are here.
Cool.
I'm excited.
So when it comes out, we'll have to have a Hellcat
We will
versus Hopsecutioner.
Yes.
See who comes out ahead.
Yeah. So there you go. That wraps up our last story for SonicSphere Podcast number 53. Wolves, Scumdogs, and Hellcats.
Where'd the Scumdogs come from?
Scumdogs was the Guar.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That
they're a
makes
bunch of
sense.
Scumdogs.
Okay.
Scumdogs.
I had a back in the day, I had a roommate who went to a Guar concert wearing a white T-shirt and made sure he got to front row.
Oh,
And
yeah.
That T-shirt did not have a speck of white left on it when he got back.
I bet it didn't.
Oh my
It
goodness.
looked like he got dumped headfirst into a vat of every color of
I'm sure he still has this shirt,
everything.
though.
Oh, probably does. Yeah.
So LB, of course, said BrewDog made a 60% ABV beer, and one where the bottle was stuffed inside a taxidermy roadkill. That's pretty epic.
Wow.
It's pretty epic. Okay. There you go. See?
60% ABV.
60% ABV.
Whoa.
Wow. See,
I'm
I'm assuming that's
had
60
14, and
not
that was
60.
really crazy.
That's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a lot of dead things in there.
Wow.
So anyways, on that note, we are wrapping it up. Thank you all for joining us. You
Thank
guys
you.
are amazing. We got Forest Violet over here from Voltagehead, Silver
Voltagehead.
Tongue, all sorts of things.
What?
Solo acoustic.
I do solo acoustic.
Songwriter.
I have Silver Tongue is my cover band.
I like. What is it? Chaotic Creator.
I am the chaos creationist.
There you go, Chaotic Creator. And next week, because we didn't get to it because we ran out of time, I'm gonna do a reading of what album fits your astrological sign.
Oh yeah, we were gonna talk.
We were gonna do that. We didn't get to it today.
Astrology.
We're actually running way over, so we're gonna save that for the next week. And we've got a full list. Actually, we've got Exquisite Gender in the house next week. This is Atlanta's fully trans band. Very excited to bring these guys in. Talk to them. Yeah, so it's going to be really cool. And maybe we'll do it then. But keep checking back in, of course. Every Monday night, we do this live casting for all you guys. You can participate in the chat room. Everybody else in podcast land, we will see you a little bit later in the week on Thursday. And make sure that you guys subscribe, download, follow, like. What's all the verbs? I don't even know anymore.
Make sure to check out Voltagehead on Facebook.
There you go.
Subscribe. That's what I want you to do.
Subscribe to Voltagehead on YouTube. Subscribe to Amy and the podcast, the SonicSphere Podcast. Amy and Julie, they're doing a hell of a job. It's so much fun tonight. And we have if you follow the Voltagehead page, we got a big announcement coming up for you.
That's
and
right.
we'll drop you some little clues
I know
along
what
the
it
way.
is. Y'all have
You're
to follow,
special.
though. I know.
There are
I
a
know
few
what it
people
is.
who know.
I know what it
so,
is.
So stay tuned. It's
right.
something going to be pretty cool, and you'll have your chance to be part of it. So stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.
That's right. And we have
See you
that
then.
CD to give away and whatnot. So make sure you guys keep tuning in.
I'm gonna steal
getting
this
virtual
one.
points.
This is mine now.
All right. So what we do at the very end is we've got to say one last thing, something you want to tell everybody that is good for the week, or you want to brag about, or something that is parting advice.
Parting advice. You don't want to take my advice.
I do.
My parting advice to you is to watch the SonicSphere Podcast, because you never know what you're going to see, and you never know who you're going to have a fun night with.
It's true,
and
man.
Be careful. Drive safe. Don't
There
drink and drive.
Do that,
Not a
yeah.
good thing.
There you go. There you go. Don't drink and drive. I've never had anybody say
Yeah.
that on here. All right, Julie, what do you say? What do you
I
say?
didn't say
Same
don't
thing
drink
I always say,
or don't
guys.
drive.
I mean, we live in some tumultuous times, so be good to yourself, be good to each other, love one another,
Be excellent.
enjoy
to
the
each
music, create your art, and share your art, and enjoy it.
Yours is so much better than mine.
I know. All right, everybody. And, of course, at the very end of this, take care of yourself, take care of others, be creative, and I will see all of you rock
At
stars.
the top, because we're going to be.
At the top,
And
'cause
so will
that's
you.
where we're all
That's
going.
right.
That's
Just
it.
make the music you love, and your audience will find you.
That's it. All right. See you next week. Thank you so much. Good night.